small rebel force has penetrated the shield and landed on Endor.
This is where the fun begins.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
This is Rebel Force Radio,
your source for the Force.
Star Wars news and commentary
with Jason Swank and Jimmy Mack.
I've seen Star Wars 500 times.
Star Wars #1!
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
Now it's time for Rebel Force Radio.
We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, welcome back to Rebel Force Radio Live. This is getting to be a habit. A good kind of habit, going live and talking with you all. But as we are starting to discuss how we might wrap up Star Wars Celebration, it just occurred to us that there's a show, let's do an after show. And in some ways, this is a continuation. This is an extension. So if you've got the post-Celebration blues, we are the cure for it right here on Rebel Force Radio Live and the Star Wars Celebration 2022 after show. So great to be with you all. Glad you're taking the time out to be with us. As I say, we are the cure for the post-Celebration blues. Hard to believe that, it's almost a week ago that we were all together, and we have a lot of catching up to do because there's no way that you can experience it all. You may try. You may try to get all the autographs. You may try to get to the Star Wars Celebration store, hit all the panels, hit the exhibition floor, buy some merch, but you can't do it all. And there was quite a bit of news that came out of this, so we're going to be covering that as well as telling you about our experiences. And then we'll have the number up on the screen. We'd love for you to call in and tell us your favorite memories of Star Wars Celebration. We prefer it if you call in and we're at Star Wars Celebration, but that's not the end of the world. If you weren't there and you have some questions, maybe you want some clarification, that's fine too. But we're going to give preference to those of you who are actually there and want to talk about being there as Celebration was unfolding in Anaheim last week. So looking forward to it. It's going to be a chock fun couple of hours with you all. If you're new to the program, we know it's growing by leaps and bounds, and it's things like Star Wars Celebration that always introduces new listeners to us. My name is Jason, and with me, my good friend and yours from Chicago, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jason. Hey, Star Wars fans. Back home, slapped in the face by reality. So I'm so thankful that we can continue the great week that was in Anaheim. Keep that vibe going for just one more night. Why not? I've been going through all the photos and videos online, looking at video footage, seeing things we missed. I grabbed a few audio highlights along the way, things that went down in panels and live on the streaming stage. We'll get to that later. But I thought it would be fun to talk about our experiences because, everyone has to do these conventions their own way. It's impossible, as you said, Jason, for people to do everything. It really is. You can't.
No.
There's no way you.
No.
But I think we did some really good ones, and I'm looking forward to breaking them all down.
Yeah. And so let's by the way, our buddy Tyler Page is joining us. He's going to be the call screener, of course, as he is. So so just share with Tyler what your Star Wars Celebration memory or question, if you have a question, is. And remember, RFR Patreon members, so please identify yourself as a Patreon member. We'll get you at the top of the queue, and as well as those that have really good stories, because we know there's lots of good stories. We haven't heard them all. We're hoping to tell you some of ours tonight. But Tyler, you're back. How are you feeling? As Jimmy mentions, the fire hose of reality hits you square in the face.
Yeah, I'm winding down, but I still got this high. The lightsaber that I built at Galaxy's Edge is still in the room. There's still ephemera to be put away. Ephemera. Yeah, lots of ephemera. Handing out Babu Freak stickers had a lot of payoff, I'd say.
Oh yeah, the Babu Freak stickers were. Oh shoot, yeah. You in the green. But anyway, the Babu Freak stickers were were being handed out,
I
and
can't even do it.
yeah, right. Anyway, I was an honorary freak, and people were really they were excited when you handed them this, and you say you're an honorary freak. They're like, wow, a major award.
I finally fit in.
It all makes sense now. But yeah, so your experience, Tyler, was interesting because rather than get a hotel, you were in a series of a couple houses, right? Were you guys right next to each other or down the street? How did the housing for the freaks work out?
We had 2 houses 10-minute walk apart. But to be honest, that was just a place to shack up at the end of the night for most of us. We were out and about doing different things. I know some of us went to the ball game on Friday. When you have a big group, it's hard to prioritize and get everyone in line. So,
and how many people were in this? Because I know that there's people already preparing for the next celebration, and some may be considering, do I want to do the hotel? Do I want to do the Airbnb? That's a popular option. You've done it both ways. So what are the pros and cons?
I mean, Airbnb is probably going to be cheaper, but
yeah. Cost.
I think the on-site experience is worth the cash. So I would do that if you can.
Yeah, you can't beat the convenience. When Mac and I were talking about it at first doing the show, and I was all in the Airbnb camp. I was like, no, let's rent we're too old for this stuff now. Let's get a nice house with a pool and a hot tub. I don't care if it's 10, 15 minutes away. But especially after Nashville, where we were, right there on site, it became pretty obvious, as Mac pointed out. Like, come on, you wouldn't. You know how we forget stuff. We go out the door. We forget, you don't want to have to take an Uber, a 20-minute, 30-minute Uber ride back. So that's definitely a consideration. And once I was there, I realized, he was right. That's for sure. Let's keep it local.
Yeah. Plus, we had access to the Jason Swank party room, which was great. That was the place to be. Out on the lanai, and we rocked the lanai. Had a bunch of people over a few nights in a row, and we took in the Kenobi premiere there, and had pizza parties and taco parties.
Yeah, it was
kind of
great.
Things happening.
We even crashed a wedding.
Podcast. We crashed the wedding. Yeah,
it was a lovely wedding. It was happening out on the lanai. And at first I thought I made a terrible mistake because the first night that I was there, they had this big party out on Lanai. The hotel had rented it out. And there was literally a speaker stand and huge speaker right outside my window, my door. And I thought, oh, this isn't going to work. But no, it turned out to be great. We were able to have, smoke some cigars and have pizza and tacos. So yeah, it became the party room. Although, I found myself like going around and picking up after people, but I guess that's kind of always been my role. I guess that
you're the only guy I know who makes his bed in the hotel room. You're the only guy I've ever known to do that. Kevin Lyle commented about that too. He's like, what? Jason already had cleanup service in here? And I didn't respond. Because I knew what he would think if he knew you were making your bed in the hotel room.
I think so.
A lot of times when I stay in a hotel room, by the time the housekeeping staff gets to the room to clean up, they're lucky there's even a bed there. Usually the mattress is gone, the box frame, everything. But speaking of Kevin Lyle,
yes,
we did have a funny moment with Kevin on the deck at one of your famous after-con parties. Billy Mack and I were shopping in the convention, and we came across a small box on a table filled with vintage pins from back in the day, round circular pins with like the safety pin in the back. I picked up the famous Darth Vader lives. Darth Vader lives, of course, but they misspelled Vader, V-A-D-A-R. And it was one of the original pieces of merchandise to come out summer of 77 when Star Wars was released. Believe it or not, Star Wars was released without a huge flood of merchandising. That came later. So the first things to come out were little pins, iron-on t-shirts, jigsaw puzzles, paint by number kits, just stuff you can produce really quick. And they made this pin, Darth Vader lives. It's famous. And they made posters and t-shirts. It was everywhere summer of 77. Yet somehow I never owned it. I never had that pin. And I found it in this little box. And while we're shuffling through it, we found another pin. It said Dave Prowse. And it was a picture of Dave Prowse, circa mid-70s. It almost looked like it was like an election pin. You know, it was definitely vintage in nature. And
it had no business being made. Like there was no, that's what made this pin so hilarious. It was like a teal, like grayish blue, just that picture of Dave Prowse wearing the big aviator glasses and the helmet of hair. And it's just
fan clubs were really popular in the day.
Yeah.
Fan clubs. And that's where I think this pin came from, was like a Dave Prowse fan club. There were companies that ran fan clubs for just about any celebrity you could think of. And you'd get the kit with a poster, a pin, and maybe a 8x10 or something. And so that's where I think this came from. I'm not 100% sure. But Kevin Lyle is famous for owning, well, he's famous for 100 things, but something that's on his list of achievements is he purchased some of Dave Prowse's wardrobe, actual clothing from his closet in an auction after he passed away. And he bought the guy's jacket. Kevin Lyle is so impressed with himself for doing that. He even told this story to Alec Baldwin when he ran into him tobogganing in Connecticut. Oh, there's the Darth Vidar lives pin.
Literally,
anyone
Vidar.
from that era would recognize that pin right there. Jason just put on the screen. But we had these two Dave Prowse pins. I don't think I have a picture of one. Maybe I'll ask Billy to take a photo and text it to me.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I can't find it online at all. Like it never existed.
I bought, yes, hold on, let me just text Billy. So I bought the Darth Vader pin, and I also bought the David Prowse pin to give to Kevin Lyle. Well, as I'm leaving the table, Billy is putting the same pin on his shirt. And oh, you bought it too? He's like, yeah, there were two of them. And so I said, oh man, oh, you should take that off. And then it became a whole thing about, oh, you were not going to step on my rights. I want him to. It did.
Yeah.
And Billy and Jason were teaming up on me too. But he had this little pin, and I thought, well, if Kevin Lyle sees it on Billy before I get the chance to present him with it, he's going to lose his mind. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so because I had to leave the lanai during the post party that night. And this is before Kevin showed up. So I'm back in my room just for a few minutes. And Billy comes back. And he's like, you got to get back there. You got to get back there. Kevin saw the pin and he lost his mind. I think Kevin offered Billy
I was
ownership of his company. He said, I'll give you anything you need. I'll give you ownership of Norse Legion, my company. I'll give it to you just for that David Prowse.
He tried to play it real cool at first because, Kevin doesn't want to look like someone else has something that he wants. So he sees that pin. He goes, where'd you get that pin? And Billy's like, oh, it was in a box of a bunch of vintage stuff. And he's like, how much you want for it? I'll give you $20. How much did it cost you? He's like, well, it's really, it's not about the money, He's like, okay. Did they have a bunch of them? I bet they had stacks of them in the box. He's like, actually, there were only two. So you can see it just building in Kevin. And he would let it go for a few seconds, and he'd be like, seriously, how much do you want for that? $50. $50. Come on. And I thought, oh, this is turning out great. I actually think it worked out better that way because we got to completely frazzle him. The idea that someone would have something that he would want was priceless. But
my God, that's so funny.
Yeah, so then Bill heads over and
text here.
Yeah, Bill heads over.
There was a text also here, a panic text, because Kevin's like 6'6", and if he goes on a Dave Prowse rampage or something, how are we going to control it? So I got back there, and I didn't leave Kevin hanging too long. I just said, "Oh, hey, Kevin, did you see that pin Billy's wearing?" He's like, yeah, I saw it. I got to get one. And I let him hang for a couple minutes, and then I just pulled it out and showed it to him. And then I gave him the pin.
All right, this is not the one. This is, believe it or not, there's another one. Look at this.
There is another. Oh, that looks kind of familiar, but the one we had was very similar but blue, and he was wearing big rimmed glasses, like George Burns type glasses.
Yeah,
and he actually looks pretty good in that picture.
Yeah, I mean that's a credit compared.
So that's our big shopping story. We don't have too many shopping stories. I don't think we have really any shopping was it was not really like things weren't like really jumping out at me at this thing. It was obvious that a lot of the prices were severely being marked up.
Oh, the prices were nuts at most of the booths. I did pick up a few things that were on my list. I love the bins of beaters. So I was able, because I'm rebuilding a vintage collection. So I found a Death Star Commander,
nice,
with a little bit of elbow grease. He's going to be good as new, and Snaggletooth, the red variety.
Little snags,
and the most exciting figure of all, General Madine. Yeah, every kid
I like
wanted
to
play
pop
with
the
him.
heads on the beaters. I like to pop the heads and switch them up, like put General Madine's head on a Snaggletooth body and.
Oh, you're like the Dr. Moreau of Star Wars action figures.
Or keep it in the universe, I'm Dr. Evazan.
Dr. Evazan.
Wasn't that his thing? Wasn't he conducting some very medically non-ethical experimentation? That's what I think that is kind of the excuse they use for why Walrus Man has two different hands. He has like the sucker hand and he has the furry hand with the fingers.
So he's like the Dr. Moreau. So and then this was one of the I have all of the Burger King glasses for all three films. And then Hasbro did a very short-lived line where they did pack-ins with the Star Wars action figures, and they would do a Burger King style glass, though they're plastic. But despite the fact that they're plastic, the art is so vintage and looks so much, and it's like one of those what ifs. What if they had done the Burger King glasses like in the 70s and 80s? And I regret they didn't do a Revenge of the Sith one. They never got around to it. So I was able to add that. So got that to go alongside my Phantom Menace cup glass. And then the swag was good. I dated a Jawa pin. I don't know what that's about. I guess it's the Pelimoto thing.
Okay.
Some patches were nice. People are so generous. So they got this with the.
That's a cool one. Yeah.
Yeah, with I don't know what type of plane that is.
I remember the guy
jet.
who gave us that. He was like a Air Force pilot or something. And that was the plane.
Oh, and check this out. This is the patch that might have been. This says Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2020.
2020.
But, that didn't happen.
Rebel Alliance symbol there.
And we met a really nice guy and his wife. In fact, we got a good story about. Should we want to talk about your hoodie?
It does. This does qualify as swag.
All right, so
but I don't think many people realized.
We're in line, and we'll get to the Mandalorian Experience in a minute, but we were in line for the Mandalorian Experience, and we met some really nice folks in line, and one of them was a fella and his wife and his little girl, and he's Star Wars Collection Wars, and this guy's collection, I'm following him now on Instagram, is just he specializes in life-size replica stuff. Everything is one-to-one scale replicas, sabers, helmets, all that kind of stuff. And it's a stunning collection. In fact, the way you get to his collection is that there's like a bookcase, and you open the bookcase and it goes into a secret room, and that's his collection. I mean, that's like every man's, man cave dream. But anyway, so I'm talking to him, and meanwhile, Mac is in conversation with his wife. They're both attorneys. Yeah. And I'm being, I'm blown away by him showing photos on his iPhone, and I keep noticing out of the corner of my eye, Mac and the wife are leaned down on the ground. I'm like, what are they doing? And it turns out.
Well, they had these, and you see them around, like in stores and stuff. These circles, they're decals on the floor, and it says, keep 6 feet apart or whatever, COVID stuff, and so stay 6 feet apart. 6 feet apart, and they had these on the convention floor carpeting as we were walking into the Mandalorian exhibit. Not too many people were really acknowledging their presence. 6 feet apart, nothing. We were socializing. Other podcasters were coming up to us and introducing themselves to us. It was really nice. And while Jason was talking to the one guy with the collection, I was talking to his wife. She was a lot of fun. And I noticed those circles on the carpeting. Do you have a photo of?
I'm trying to pull one up here right now.
There's some on our rundown if you wanted to take a look at. Oh, the actual circle on the carpeting.
Oh no. I see. All right.
Hold on. Let me get you this because it was just there. And so for some reason, I don't know what it was, what compelled me to do it, but I reached down and tried to see if you could peel it off the carpeting, and it was stuck on it with a really strong glue. Really strong. And so I tugged on it for a second, and then I was just like, yeah, whatever. Well, the dude's wife, she gets down on the floor. She's on her knees, and she's got these long fingernails, and she digs in there, and she starts pulling it up. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And then she has it. It's all in one piece. It's not damaged. These things are built to withstand all kind of stress because people are walking over them all day. So she has this thing with a really super strong sticky glue. And it's like, well, what are we going to do with it? We can't fold it up or anything. So she just slapped it on my back. She just slapped it right on my back, on the back of my hoodie. And
it looked like it was supposed to be there. It looked like this was something that you might have picked up at the Celebration store.
Right. Very few people noticed. Or at least they didn't say anything because it does look like it's part of the hoodie itself. Yeah. Please keep social distance. Star Wars, the Mandalorian Experience. And then it has the Mandalorian death head symbol there. It has the Mandalorian logo there, and the Lucasfilm and the Disney Plus logo. And then it says, please keep social distance again at the bottom. And so that was my little message to anyone following me around the convention center. Stand back. Stand back, especially the night after Jason ordered all those tacos.
Oh, yeah.
Stand back.
Glad we weren't rooming in a house together, I tell you that.
Yeah, well, Jason, when I say Jason ordered them, he ordered like 40 tacos for everyone that was at his lanai party. And that was very generous. Thank you, Jason.
Oh, yeah,
and but nobody wanted to be downwind. Any of the Babu freaks became the Babu farts after that. And so I was walking around, and a couple people said something to me about it. I should say, a couple people I know. And they were laughing and taking pictures of it and stuff. And I said, I'm cosplaying as the convention center floor. The first time I've ever cosplayed in my life as the convention. So I posted a picture of it up on all of our socials. So go check them out on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, wherever. But there it is.
Wow.
Right there. Keep
fantastic.
So I don't know what to do. Do I keep it on the hoodie forever? It's, what do I do?
Is it still on there?
It is still on there.
Oh, man.
I could put it on a sheet of paper or something, cardboard, and frame it, because it's legit. It's a legit.
How good is the hoodie?
Well, it's Mack Weldon. I do like it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a nice hoodie.
Because you could get one of those nice shadow box frames for the hoodie.
Yeah.
You know how they do jerseys?
For the hoodie itself.
For the hoodie.
I think we peeled it off the convention center carpet once. I bet it'll peel off the hoodie.
Yeah.
And emerge undamaged.
Yeah.
Or I could just put the Darth Vader lives pin on the hoodie and call it a day. And just say, this is my convention wear moving forward. But that was a hoot. I say to myself, even Mandos have to social distance, or even what you step on at the convention center floor becomes a collectible. So those are my two the two messages that I'm delivering with my wardrobe statements. But so that was our shopping. That's us goofing around. Let's talk about the RFR Rooftop Bash. My Lord, people heard us hyping this thing up for 2 months. The question is, let's throw this to Tyler if he can talk. Oh, there he is. Tyler, the question is, did it live up to its billing?
The RFR Bash, I would say so. You know, I had a great time there. I was just always moving around.
And you were
talking to
working.
people. Yeah. Yeah, I had a great time while I was working. You don't do that all
Tyler
the time.
did. You were a great volunteer for us. However, I wanted your response to be a little more enthusiastic because I mean,
Sorry.
you know, I have to critique. If you're going to critique our event, I'm going to critique your performance here. And you said I thought it was good, meaning that others thought it sucked. That's what I got out of it. See, I'm kind of glass half full, glass half empty. I'm glass half empty right now. I need my glass filled.
Fill up the glass, Tyler.
I'm kidding. Fill the glass. No, listen. I know it was the best. I think it was the best bash we ever threw. Everyone had a blast. We did a podcast. It was great. We had celebrity guests, Steve Sansweet, Daniel Logan, Stephen Cosentino, the Good Morning Guard, Dan Madsen. Damn, Denna. Look at Logan. Look how good he looks up there. He always looks good, man. We got to catch Daniel a few times during the convention up on the stage, and he was having a great time with his son Caden. Daniel's son Caden was actually cosplaying as young Boba Fett from Attack of the Clones. Genius.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely. And he looks just like him. You know, from that.
He
from
does
that time.
have. There's the pudgy cheeks. There's just something about it, you know. Dad, Tonwee's here. We really wanted to get him chanting that throughout the show, but I didn't want to push it too hard. I thought Danny would like punch me in the head or something, but no, he wouldn't do that. We had such a fun time. Kyle Newman was there. Kevin Lyle did a surprise giveaway. He was handing out pins, and of course, then the grand finale of the evening was Rebel Force Radio Puppet Theater. Well, you know, I know there's a lot of Star Wars podcasts out there, but who's bringing you the puppets? These
no
guys.
one.
That's who.
No one else.
We're bringing you the puppets. And so they did a whole routine. They did a scene from A New Hope. Puppet Lando blessed the crowd in the convention. And then Puppet Lando performed. Puppet Lando performed, and when Puppet Lando performed, he brought the house down. That was the end of the show. There was nowhere to go after that.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Well, you can't follow it.
No. We have literally thousands, at least 1,000 photos from the whole week, and
oh yeah.
And so I'm furiously trying to get through them, and they're, you know, I thought they would be in date order, but I think Mac uploaded each photo 4 different times to this folder.
Something happened.
So we got a lot of doubles.
I was having lots of internet connectivity issues throughout the whole weekend. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
what
your
the
phone went
device
wacky
was.
on us towards
phone,
the end of the
my
trip.
Computer, I mean, just everything did. I was afraid to get on the airplane because I think it's like some kind of chemical thing going on with my physiology and electrodes that are nearby.
Like you and tech.
Me and tech. Yes, I would have been able to defeat the Bad Batch because I take out tech. But yeah, I don't know what it is, and so I think I was doing a lot of partial uploads before I finally got.
There we go. Here are the puppets.
Uploaded.
We got them.
Well, there you see Puppet Zero with Puppet Lando. And Puppet, you don't know where Puppet Lando's hair ends and Billy Mac's throw begins.
Oh my God! Oh, speaking of Billy Mac, I got to share this one because this was funny, because there was a moment when we were trying to hook Kevin up with Billy Mac. They were going to go see the Mandalorian Mandalorian Experience together, and so. As we were trying to do this, I spy out of my peripheral vision Mandalorian pinball machines, and I know Mac's a huge pinball fan. Mm-hmm. And there was nobody playing them, and I'm like, so I'm texting. I'm like, guys, get over here. There's pinball, And so we had a good time. We were playing with those, and then as I was waiting for the guys, I saw a dude that I would have sworn was Billy Mack. I mean, it
the doppelganger.
It had to be him, and so I got the picture right here.
Are you gonna show that picture?
Right,
Oh
this,
God,
this is it right
He's
here.
gonna be so pissed you're showing it, but I mean, it does.
Oh, come on.
It does.
Can't take ourselves that seriously.
Oh yeah.
This guy is
Come
physically. There's a big difference between him and Billy.
Yeah,
from,
if you
like,
grew up with
down.
Billy Mack for the last 50 years, yeah, you're going to notice it. If you just know Billy Mack from the show, you would have thought this way. Yeah. But what made it funny is I take a picture of this guy and send it to Bill. I'm like, dude, someone is cosplaying as you. And within minutes, I get this text from Lyle. No joke. Someone was cosplaying Billy Mack in Anaheim. Both Jason and I saw this guy and thought it was Bill. So we both saw the same guy almost at the exact same time that this was all going on. And so it was just amazing that Lyle and I saw the guy within minutes of each other, had the same thought. And Bill, even Bill agreed. Like, well, I kind of see that from an angle.
I agree. I just didn't know that we were going to be sharing that on the show. So I'm trying to lessen the blow if there is any, because phone calls get made, not to you. Let's just say. So I'm just trying to say, hey, I tried to make it, whatever. But who is that guy? Maybe he's watching the show. Check in with us. We want to see you from the front, and we'll mash you up with Billy and turn you guys into something.
It all worked out well for Bill, because he did get into the Mandalorian Experience. And
yeah, it did. And it all worked out great for the Rooftop Bash. Everything went off perfectly. We didn't get the fireworks, which was unfortunate, but I still don't know why we didn't get them.
No, because it was a beautiful night.
I heard there was gusty, but I mean, none that didn't add up. I don't know, maybe they just shift the schedule around or whatever they do. But other than that, I think there were plenty of pyrotechnics going on in the bash itself. Like I said, we had it was a star-studded event, and everyone just seemed like they had a great time. They loved the food, they loved the drinks, the Baby Yoda cocktails, the blue milk, and the That's No Moon, which was being brought out to us like every 5 minutes from Tyler there. So I appreciate it.
That's No Moon was
much,
the star of the show as far as I was concerned. It was a fantastic twist on a Manhattan. I absolutely loved it. And we had fun too with the photo ops. Afterwards, we were taking some pictures and we had the puppets out there, and it was a blast. And it was just
the Fifth is a great
fantastic.
venue.
Yeah.
The Fifth is a great venue. And we hope to work with them again. So that was the RFR Rooftop Bash. For the most part, sold out. I think we were sitting on like 5 or 6 tickets there that went unsold. It was just a wonderful night, man. Everyone had a blast. Oh, that's a nice picture there. We got that was during the photo op with the puppets. And what a great gathering of RFR radio, RFR listeners, I should say. I'm thinking about those That's No Moon cocktails and feeling the brain cells pop.
It was a good weekend for Star Wars themed cocktails, that's for sure. Because
later
we would meet another favorite Star Wars cocktail, which we'll talk about in a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So thank you, everyone, though, for coming out to the RFR Rooftop Bash. It was a real, just great vibe in the place, family feel. It was really nice to be able to do something special for our RFR VIPs on Patreon. We were able to sit 3 VIPs, Joe Dallas, Eric from Phoenix, and his wife, Ben Stein. Ben Stein, of course, the famous Ben Stein was there. And we were able to sit them in the VIP section with Daniel Logan and his family, Steve Sansweet, Dan Madsen, Kyle Newman. and everyone else. So I think they felt pretty good about that. Also, Joe Dallas was able to sit in on our recording of the very first Obi-Wan Kenobi after show for episodes or parts, they're calling them, 1 and 2. I just ran into Joe. He's a VIP. I said, if you'd like to join me, you can. He blew off the 20th anniversary Attack of the Clones panel to come to an RFR live podcast. And for a studio audience of 2, Joe Dallas and Billy Mack sitting there on the bed. Well, not with each other.
Right.
Billy was very comfortable during that show. I'm pretty sure his feet are visible behind Jason.
Yeah, pretty much the whole time. Yeah.
So, go ahead and pop that one on after we're done here.
And Joe photobombed a little bit, not on purpose. He was just down there very respectfully sitting cross-legged in the corner of the room.
Is that where he was?
Yeah, he was admiring the tech. He was like looking around at what the mixer was doing and all of that. So
yeah, that doesn't surprise me. We've talked tech before. We've talked studio setups in the past. Yeah. So that was
great.
That was
Joe.
That was actually Friday, so we jumped ahead a little bit. Thursday was the first day of the convention. We were a little slow going in the morning, obviously, because of the RFR kickoff bash. That was the night before. Felt a great weight lifted from my shoulders. It's like, okay, the convention is starting. We've done our heavy lifting. Now let's just go enjoy the convention. And that's what we did. And hit the convention floor, took a lot of photos, met a lot of people, met a lot of RFR listeners, promptly found the beer cart. And they had a little nice setup in that courtyard, too. That was very relaxing. You could go out and get a breath of fresh air, have a nice cold beer with fellow Star Wars fans and RFR listeners. It was a lot of fun. And as we're walking through the convention center in mid-afternoon, I got a call from Kyle who says, hey, come meet up with me. I'm over by the stage. And so I'm like, okay. And I was just going to go grab him and hang out, but he had a spare badge for the Kenobi world premiere. So I took advantage of that. And there's me and Kyle there sitting waiting for the actual premiere to begin. This is when they were introducing. Oh, no, I think they have cosplayers on stage and stuff. The DJs were doing all their shtick. And they gave away dark side cans of Pringles, like Kenobi Pringles. Did you see these, Jason?
I did not see the cans of Pringles, no.
They're it looks really cool. Black cans of Pringles with the Obi-Wan Kenobi logo in gold on it. And Pringles. Oh, there's.
That's the frosted.
That's the frosted Pringles, flakes. Yeah. Now they were also giving out these dark side frosted flakes. And when they started handing those out, Kyle just
tomorrow and Saturday, they are not making that hard. In fact, one of the true folks, I got 50-50 on every single question I throw out there.
That's funny. He's on top of the world there with those. So yeah, he got up and he had to get them. You know, you had to do like a dance or something to win, and people were like really grinding away and doing all sort of dancing. Kyle just gets up. I think I don't know how he got the damn cereal, but I knew he wasn't going to come back empty-handed. So he's pretty proud of himself. And the premiere kicked off with a little introduction from Ewan McGregor, where he thanked the fans. Deborah Chow did a majority of the speaking before the actual screening began. It was pretty, it's coming in a little hot.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There we go. All right, so there's some really sloppy footage of mine, and there's my thumb. So, if you could just mute that stuff because it's really coming in hot on mine.
Yeah, the other one was muted. This just wasn't.
Yeah, there's my thumb again. So they showed the first 2 episodes, and the place was just really enthusiastic, cheering going on for every Easter egg, every nod to canon, and of course, anytime especially at the end when Hayden was shown. Oh my God, I just the hairs are standing up on my arm thinking about it. And then afterwards, they brought out the whole cast and they introduced everyone. The only one who really wasn't there of notable. Of a notable role in the show would be Joel Edgerton. He wasn't there. Bonnie Peace was. I don't think we've really even seen her yet in Kenobi, even in that macro binocular scene. Is she visible? I don't think so. But
no,
they were all
she's
there,
not.
and
yet to be
little
seen on the
Leia was
show.
there. Yeah, I don't think so. Little Leia was there, and her name is Vivian Lyra. Oh, I forgot her last name. Wow, here I am, all ready to give her a shout out, and I forgot her last name. You know, she's so fresh on the scene now. I should be looking in the chat. I'm sure everyone Blair, Vivian Lyra Blair. They said Lyra on stage. Lyra.
We had a long time to learn her name. We got a whole season.
She's only 10. We got her whole career. So, and she's just cute as a button. And she comes out on the stage. Jason is showing some of the footage I shot there. You just see O'Shea Jackson Jr. just came out. There
Jimmy
is
Smits.
India Varma, I believe. Or is that Simone Kessel? There's Jimmy Smits. He comes out. He's the only one wearing a mask. But watch Jimmy Smits, how he kind of freaks out and starts doing all these calisthenics here. What's going on here? He's doing jumping jacks. He's really into it. And then here they bring out little Leia, and they give her a big round of applause. And she's a superstar, and everyone knows it because we've all just seen the episode with her in it. We never saw her before this, and what a trip to actually see her debut in the Kenobi show, and then see her on stage hugging Ewan McGregor and hugging Deborah Chow and all that, and really just getting a very warm, enthusiastic reception from the 5,000 people in the arena there, hardcore Star Wars fans. And also, of course, the arena was packed with cast and crew, lots of crew. And the way you knew it is because everyone sat and very closely paid attention to the credits, the end credits of each episode. And when certain names would pop up on the screen, you would hear really enthusiastic reactions from certain sections throughout the arena. And as the credits went on, you would hear the reactions go from the front of the crowd at the beginning for all the big stars and everything. And then you start getting into the crew, the key grips, even like the limousine drivers or what have you. And so you start hearing pockets cheering for them up in the third balcony up there, So that was kind of funny to observe how the applause sort of moved from the front of the room to the back of the room as the credits were rolling.
There are no small parts in Star Wars, as we know.
No, and I really think it's great that a lot of the creatives who were on stage throughout the week constantly were deflecting a lot of attention away from themselves and giving credit to their crew members. Guys like Dave Filoni worked with some people for years and years. Deborah Chow, she's new on the scene, and she's building up a whole support system around herself as she will, I'm sure, undoubtedly continue with Star Wars, directing beyond Kenobi. Could be a season 2 on the horizon. There's been a lot of talk about that lately, but that's just rumor. However, Ewan McGregor himself had been dropping strong hints since before the season even debuted. So that tells you somebody would have told him to shut up. Lucasfilm, they're not afraid. Doesn't matter what kind of superstar you are. They'll tell you to shut up. They told Mark Hamill to shut up many times.
I think they're still telling Mark Hamill to shut up
many times. Yeah, but Ewan wouldn't keep bringing it up if there wasn't a strong possibility that a season 2 is in the works. There is a rumor out there that the end of season 1 has been tinkered with to open the door and have the story flood into a season 2. I don't know. TV works in mysterious ways. Studios do get involved. Executives do tinker. And if I was a guy like Joby Harold, who wrote this thing, or Ewan McGregor himself, and I heard that they were going to be tinkering with the end of the season and maybe make the ending a little less definitive. I think my first reaction would have been like resistance. I would be like, no, don't do that. But then thinking to myself, well, I get a whole nother season out of this. That's when the resistance dies down. You know,
I think as long
let's
as
milk this cow.
Look, it's always about, for me, it's about the story. And that's never been more true than with this series. Because I know there's a lot of nitpicking going on about sets, costumes, effects, all of that stuff. But as I said on the after show, I'm so into this story. I'm just glued to this story that a lot of that just sort of falls away. So as long as they continue to serve the story, if it takes 2 seasons, 3 seasons, I don't care, as long as it works. And for me right now, it's working. It's working really well. So I'll be thrilled. I think having Ewan McGregor, this isn't always the case when you actually have the talent as the producers, but I think that in this instance, Ewan McGregor was very wise to get himself an executive producer role. And I don't mean just title. I think he has a role, meaning he has a chance to look at these scripts and thumb up, thumb down, whether or not he's going to be doing it. And that's smart. And who knows, maybe a guy like Mark Hamill should have had a similar deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And
said, I'm not going in front of that camera. Find another boy.
You know, even to push it further, you know, this Kenobi series probably should have been a feature film. I mean, let's face it. I think a lot of people are having hangups with things like the sets and things like that and the environments. As I said on the after show, I think the real priority here are the character moments and the development of the relationship between Ben and Vader. And also it's an extension of the origin story of Darth Vader, which to me was the prime prize to be taken out of the prequel trilogy, is the origin of Darth Vader. Now you can stretch it a little more, learn more about how he makes that transition from Anakin into Darth Vader 100%.
Yeah.
I think we'll be seeing some of that. I think the character moments are going to be stronger as this series goes on, because I don't think we've seen character moments really from Darth Vader. We've just seen him being bossy and pushy and, you know, demanding and evil, but we're not seeing the character moments, you know, little lines here and there. I am what you made me. Things like that. That's interesting. That's it. I want to sink my teeth into more stuff like that. I could give a rat's ass about what the sets look like. You could put, I mean, again, it's playing with my action figures. A lot of times the sets for those adventures were shoe boxes. So my standards are more in line with the quality of this growing friction between Kenobi and Vader, and the friction with Vader and Anakin.
Here's the
there's
thing.
a friction between Vader and Anakin.
I don't need another huge epic showdown. I got that in Revenge of the Sith, and it was directed and written by George Lucas. I'm good. But to have additional conflicts, to have additional meetings between these two characters, I'm all about. I don't need a retread of Mustafar. And, to assume that every planet, or environment has to be, awe-inspiring, I don't know how realistic that is. If you look at the original trilogy now, I am not playing that game where I'm going to downplay the classic in order to lift up, something else. What I'm trying to do is just create some context here that not every, look, you had Endor, you had Tatooine. These were desert, forest. George was limited to, in the original trilogy, the real environments that planet Earth provided, forest, ice, and desert, and that sort of thing. So again, I'm okay. I don't need some big CG masterpiece planet every time these two guys meet up.
Yeah, I hear you. And again, as I say, focus on character and everything.
Yeah.
But we'll get into more of that with the Kenobi after show coming next Wednesday, which I believe is going to be our only RFR coming at you guys next week, just so you know. There might not be, probably won't be a weekly show. Me and Jason,
maybe the next 2 weeks. Guys. Let's see how it goes.
we're old guys and we need to recharge. And we're still going through tons of video and photos from Anaheim.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of prioritizing getting those out there, but we certainly won't skip a week of Kenobi after show. You can count on that. We'll be having more conversations like this, but let's get back into Star Wars Celebration and everything that.
Yeah. And if the conversation has elicited some thoughts here, we'll put the number up on the screen. You can get in the queue, give Tyler something to do. Although I think he's already fielded a few calls. 708-866-1737. That's the number, 708-866-1737. Give us a call and tell us about
and let's try to keep the comments and conversation a little locked into the actual convention itself, or some of the news coming out of the convention, as opposed to opinions and commentary about Kenobi, because like I said, we have a whole nother show dedicated to that. So
indeed.
So we'll be getting to all that next week. After the Kenobi premiere, I met up with you guys back at our hotel room at the Lanai, and we watched the 2 episodes of Kenobi, and then our plan was to live stream. So, it was so great because they gave us the premiere about 3 hours earlier than was advertised. So we thought, oh, this will be great. This will be a piece of cake. But then we ran into internet connectivity issues again. And we started considering options, and then we started considering sleep. And so sleep reigned supreme. And so the next day was day 2 of the convention, Friday. And we always prioritize here at Rebel Force Radio eating a substantial and healthy breakfast every morning before any of these conventions. And that's what we prioritize when we get up in the morning. We don't get in lines. We get our food on. And so we did that, refueled, and went back to Jason's room, where Jason had a really nice little studio arrangement set up in there. And we were able to sit and do the Obi-Wan Kenobi after show proper there, right in the middle of the day on Friday. And everyone was great. You guys all watched and commented, and you called in. Tyler was there screening calls. We had Joe Dallas and Billy Mack in the room. That was a lot of fun. So that show is up there. It's available. You can find it here on YouTube, or you can listen to the audio podcast at rebelforceradio.com or wherever you find podcasts. So that delayed us, because after we recorded the show, of course, then we had to post the show and yada, yada, yada. We didn't even get to the convention center till about 4 p.m. that afternoon, maybe even 4:30, and had a ball taking photos. We spent some time in the Rancho Obi-Wan room. We talked about that earlier, where we're hanging out with Dan Madsen, Stu Levy, and Newman. Who else was hanging out there? Rob Deslongchamps, Michael Wistock. Michael Wistock was everywhere this weekend. Just the Rancho crew, and it was great to see everyone. Great to soak in that amazing Boba Fett museum exhibit they had there. Mandalorian, I should say. It wasn't just Boba; it was all Mandalorians. Right now,
Boba
on screen,
Fett
Jason,
to Bo-Katan, I believe, was the theme that they had going on.
It was great. It was really great. And while you and Billy Mack were, there's Galactic Belushi. That's another story. Get
to that in a minute.
He's our number 1 Star Wars fan of the week. Look at that guy. Is he not John Belushi or what? Instead of saying college, it says Imperial Academy. We really enjoyed meeting him. Dancing Jar Jar, they were all there. And so the thing was great. While you and Billy were, there's me and Wistock. This was the direction for this photo was just simply smolder. That's how Michael Wistock takes all of his photos. A lot of people thought he was cosplaying as Greg the Hitman Hart from the old WWE.
No, Brett the Hitman Hart.
Did I say, what did I say, Brent?
You said Greg. You got him mixed up with Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Or Greg Neidhart, who was his tag team partner.
Jim Neidhart.
Hart Foundation. Damn it.
There is no Greg Hart. There's no Greg
God, this
Hart
is
or
a wrestling podcast. All right. Enough. I've taken too many turnbuckles to the face, apparently. I can't remember any of my old wrestlers. Oh, my land.
Trying to find our Rancho pictures. There's so many.
Yeah, you and Billy were really just getting down and dirty looking at all of those exhibits. I took it as a good time to hang out and talk to Ann Newman, get caught up with her, make a donation to Rancho Obi-Wan. That's what I recommend everyone do. Go to ranchoobiwan.org, become a member, take a tour with us. One of these days, we're going to have an RFR meetup at Rancho Obi-Wan. Get tired of talking about it. This has been
got to make it happen.
This is on my list for many years now. And we were starting to get into some real serious consideration about doing it at the beginning of 2020. So obviously, thanks to all the wackiness with the pandemic, we haven't really circled back around to considering it, but it seems like a lot of people are getting out and about nowadays, and so maybe it's time to be thinking about
here's some shots of the Rancho Obi-Wan exhibit. This was really cool. This was the actual blaster that the white armored Fett held in some of those promotional photos in the early days. This little
I remember that one.
This was a kid. Yeah. I thought it was a real kid at first. It was scary how realistic this mannequin was, but this is an old Boba Fett costume. The kind that you would get
Halloween
costume and be kit in those boxes with the cellophane on the front. What were this? Not Don Post. Was it Don Post?
No. I forget the name of the company, but they made them. We all joke about them. How about the authenticity of that costume? I mean,
oh really, my God, yeah. Right.
You might as well be looking at a film, a screen grab of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it's bad when you have to have the name of the character on the costume itself, because otherwise no one would know.
Well, they need the name on there because otherwise it's unrecognizable. You wouldn't know
right.
who the hell that is. It looks like like a Power Ranger that they kicked out of the team or something.
Great display of rocket firing Boba Fett's, all the varieties. J-hook, L-hook, all of them.
I like the one in the middle, though, because it has a darker torso than the rest of the blue. It appears to be much darker than the arms and legs and helmet and backpack. Yeah. That's a cool one. I'm going to have to get that one.
Here's a screen-worn backpack from Return of the Jedi.
Wow, look at that. Screen-worn.
Screen-worn. So check this out. I mean, we think about these props and they look so beautiful on the big screen, but when you get up real close, you're like, did my kid paint that? Who painted that? It just makes you respect some of the cosplay that goes on, where everything is, George even, commented like the toys look better than the stuff that he had to work with. And
looks like paper mache. And
great to see the collections, of Steve Sansweet, Gus Lopez, Duncan Jenkins, all together under one roof. So
a
lot of fun.
And the goal is eventually to make this an actual museum with a facility, brick and mortar, that people can visit, gathering up all the collections.
And there was a nice little display here in honor of Jeremy Bulloch. Some autographed items, some rare photographs, things like that. I love this. There's a custom Jeremy Bulloch action figure, which it looks a little more like Arnold Palmer, the golfer, than it does Jeremy Bulloch. But hey, it's the thought that counts. And then there's a unmasked Jeremy Bulloch, which actually the likeness is real good on this one. Yeah, I really thought when they were doing the McQuarrie concept figures, I really believed that we would see an unmasked line of action figures at one point. I thought it would be great to have a Dave Prowse, Darth Vader, a Jeremy Bulloch, Boba Fett, some of these people that, these actors that we've gotten to know over the years at conventions. Yeah. Warwick Davis would be great with take the Wicket helmet off.
Yeah. The men behind the masks.
Yeah.
So that was the Rancho Obi-Wan exhibit, and it was just great. It was just great. Lots of celebs stopped by to visit that throughout the week. I know Dave Filoni was there, and he donated I think it was a Bo-Katan sketch card he drew. And it was just great to see Steve and everyone there. So the Rancho Obi-Wan, maybe we can put together some sort of slideshow showing off everything that was in there. You guys took a lot of pictures of it, right?
Yeah. Bill and I took quite a few.
Mm-hmm. So, and then I was able to, go out with Stu on his break. He was spinning the wheel, man. And he needed a breath of fresh air. That was for sure. And so always great seeing those guys. So it was a short day for us at the convention that Friday. That's my friend Leanna, the vamp.
Yeah, so in the background here, I'm playing a fantastic sizzle reel of our adventure at the convention. Now, this is pretty much relegated to convention happenings. There'll be more footage coming out, but what happened on the convention floor, in and around the convention floor, it's available on YouTube. It's about 8 minutes. It's great footage that we all took, and Jimmy Mack edited it all together, and it really, really well done. So if you want to get a taste of what it was like to be there with RFR, make sure you check that out, because it's very cool.
It was cool. It's just sort of seeing the convention through our eyes. And it's a blend of shots from me and Jason, and there's Marcus Doring, the guy responsible for Zero the Hutt.
Just gives Mac a knowing nod.
Yeah. So you're here, huh? Yeah, one of those. No, Marcus is great. We saw him throughout the weekend. He was involved in the running of the hoods and all that. That's a guy who bleeds 501st. Let me just say it. And I really appreciate his straightforward passion and purity as he approaches all that stuff. Everyone likes Marcus. He's a great guy. So on the way out, as long as we're talking about the sizzle reel, on our way out on, I think it was Friday, maybe it was Saturday, we were greeted at the door as we were walking out of the actual convention center by a guy I only know as Galactic Belushi. And he came up and he said hi to us. I had seen him earlier in the week, and this guy and his buddies were like, these are the types of people I imagine listening to Rebel Force Radio. Like when I talk into the mic, I'm talking to Galactic Belushi, who was like my favorite Star Wars fan of the week. And it was just funny because there he is. And as you can see, there is a physical similarity between him and Animal House era John Belushi, Bluto Blutarski.
Oh, Billy Mack was starstruck by this guy.
Well, so Billy, of course, growing up in the Chicago area, John Belushi is like a god, okay? And Billy definitely idolized Belushi. And I remember when John passed away in 82, Billy held on to that newspaper. He probably still has it, the front page of the Tribune. John Belushi dead. Sad. I went to the Chateau Marmont once with Kyle Newman, and we were hanging out there, and I found myself going over to the bungalow. I think it was bungalow number 3, if I remember correctly. And I just stood out there, and I was like, that's where Belushi died, And so here's this guy, Galactic Belushi. I met him on the show floor. And he's just a great guy. If you're listening to the show, Galactic Belushi, reach out to me so I know who you are and how we can hang out more often. But I just saw the look on Billy's face when this guy approached us. Billy was just like, what the hell? Like Billy was in the Twilight Zone, man. I could see it. I could read it. I could feel it off him. So he's like, yeah, we're out there drinking beers, And it's like, he's like doing Belushi things, And so right in that courtyard, not courtyard, just that walkway that leads you up into the convention center, they had it all fenced off. So we were all just Star Wars fans concentrated in this area. And it was like a Star Wars runway almost. It was just incredible. And so we got this guy, and he's been drinking beer out there all day. So I'm like, oh, I bet you crushed the can on your head when you're done with it, just like Bluto from Animal House. He goes, you got to see it. And he takes off. He goes, so we're like, we got to see it. So we follow him, and he has beers there, and he grabs one. Well, let's just watch him chug.
Yeah, what do you say? Do you say, like, may the force beer be with?
I wasn't.
Let's get fucked up.
All right, do it. There it is.
Brushes beer off, throws it on the ground right in front of that guy.
Rebel Force Radio, baby!
Yeah. I love the enthusiasm. So Galactic Belushi, we want to take this show on the road, so get a hold of me. I thought you said you were from Chicago. If you are, let me know who you are. Show at rebelforceradio.com, baby. So so that was our Saturday. Then the next day, that's when we got to see that Mandalorian exhibit.
Oh boy, that was something else.
Mando Experience.
Yeah.
Now this is something we didn't know that was going to be happening at the convention. This Mandalorian Experience. I only heard Filoni and Favreau mention it when they were on the streaming stage the very first morning, and I knew it was something we had to go to. And what it was, if you weren't in there, was this giant room in the convention center on the lower level, in the next building, actually, the building right across from the arena. They had this huge museum exhibit featuring just about every prop, set, and vehicle you could imagine from The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. They had costumes, they had masks, they even had the carbonite slabs from the very first episode of The Mandalorian when he froze all those guys in carbonite along with the Mithril. There's me and Jason right at the entrance there. That'll be our Christmas card for this year, I'm sure. I was just so impressed by this exhibit. All the miniatures were there, wardrobe, props, even the Naboo speeder from the Book of Boba Fett was there. In the life-size speeder was there with baby Grogu in the bubble area back in the back. It was just, this is really where I see the Disney effect coming into play. Like, this is the best of the best when it comes to the Disney relationship with Star Wars. And just the possibilities of how they can pull off exhibits like this. This wasn't even promoted. This was not even promoted. And I'll be damned if it wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen at any of these Star Wars celebrations.
Yeah, and even some of the standalone traveling exhibits, like, you know, the Magic of Myth and all of that. I've been to, I think, all of them, and this had the secret sauce, the Disney secret sauce, which you don't hear me say very often. But when you think about their ability to do it, because one, you know, the proximity to where they're actually shooting the show, so you know, travel and transportation was not prohibitively expensive, but just as Jim was saying, the way that, you know, having the ship, you know, right there with the lights and everything. I also think that it speaks to how they're shooting the show. I think they're shooting these shows with more practical effects because the resolution is so high on this. So I think that you've got to have a ship that actually has lights and sounds and things like that, which is great for the actors. But you notice a very big difference in these screen-used props than you do the props that they were using in the 70s and 80s with the original trilogy. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, TV is so unforgiving now because we're all watching these in 4K and all of that. There's these great carbonite slabs.
Yeah, and Zero the droid is there,
Zero
guarding them.
Yeah,
but it was beyond impressive. And these props are, you know, the biggest difference between what they were making in the 70s and 80s and what they're making now is that they're building stuff to last. They know that this stuff has a future as museum exhibits or usage in other projects and things like that. And it was really George Lucas who established the whole idea of having an archive like that for his work, you know. I mean, studios kept archives, but they would throw things in the dumpster all the time. They would sell things. They would sell things off to wardrobe houses and stuff.
Now check out this mashup. Here's a cosplay frog lady with the actual screen used frog lady. And the people that were running the museum or the exhibit here, they were loving cosplay frog lady. They were they were all taking pictures of her. And it was a great costume, but she was like her own kind of little celebrity in there.
Cosplay frog lady. She was something else. Yeah, we were behind her in line. And it was great. So we'll put out a whole video about, a compilation of everything we saw in the Mandalorian exhibit. It'll be pretty thorough.
Pretty thorough.
Splendid. So, So it'll be great, and you guys will be able to see everything we saw in that video. I'll be putting that together probably over the weekend, and be targeting a launch early next week. So that was it, and then we hung out on the floor. We did what we do. We took pictures of cosplayers. We met a lot of listeners.
Oh, we got to race the droids. Remember that?
Oh,
that was
I forgot
cool.
about that. Yeah, we were invited to do a demolition derby with mouse droids. Tyler was with us. Chris Mock, a few other people were there, and these were really sturdy, heavy-duty mouse droids.
Thank you, Michael Christensen. He arranged it all so we could be there after hours, and this was a really cool thing for the kids to be. Well, not just kids. We had a ball, but it was a really fun thing, for families to do. They had this exhibit going on, and these little mouse droids. And then there's a laser cannon. I think Chase Norton was using the laser cannon at one point, and there's Christian and Mac and me, and we met Leland Chi at one of those protein fueled breakfasts that we had.
I always run into Leland at these events, and he's such a sweet guy. He comes over, he says hi all the time. Yeah. I don't have to run after him. He sees us and he says hi, and he's been an old friend of the show for a long time, and he's had a lot of great success lately. He's going to be really working a lot with the new Lego summer break or summer vacation, whatever that is. They announced some new special. He was really pumped up about that. And then he was on stage, and I should have pulled the audio of this, but he was singing some wacky Star Wars songs that they feature in some of these Lego shows.
Was singing them?
He was singing. So I'm going to have to get that. I'm going to have to get that audio. We'll hear that on a future edition of RFR. But it was great to see Leland. It was great to smash up those droids. There was something cathartic and satisfying about that whole thing, and a lot of fun. We gathered up a little crowd watching us in the demolition derby, and it was just so great to meet so many different Rebel Force Radio listeners. You guys did not fail. You stopped me and Swank constantly on the show floor. And it was really great, and then Billy was like, yeah, everybody keeps saying, hey, Puppet Lando. Hey, at least they're saying something.
That's
so,
right.
We wrapped up everything on Friday, and that was our last day at the convention. We sat out Sunday because Sunday was our big trek to Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. I had been there before, but Swank and Billy hadn't been there. And I got to say, it was just what a great day we had. Fully immersed in Star Wars. And this is the first time I think I've ever really had that immersion feeling that they promote that so much. You have to immerse yourself. You have to think you're there and everything. And I really started to get into the zone with that stuff. Now, I'm sure the Coruscant coolers in the cantina had something to do with it.
That certainly didn't hurt. I'll tell you that. But no, I think that I had got to Galaxy's Edge, I think, pretty late compared to a lot of hardcore fans. Jim, you were there. Our good friend David Sparks, Max Sparky, and his wife Daisy, they were our tour guides at the beginning of our visit there, and David practically lives there, and so I know a lot of people that have been there, and I have to say that I was never really, blown away by the accounts. I thought, okay, I'll get there eventually. So I don't want to say my expectations were low, but they weren't really high. And that all changed. That all changed when I got there, to see these things, these life-size recreations. Oh yeah, there we go. There's me and Billy right here. I love this. I think he was weird. I don't know what was going on there, but it's a classic photo.
His arms around you, like.
Yeah. But every bit of reality drops away when you turn that corner. Whoops, wrong one. And you see that there it is, that Millennium Falcon, and that may look like a still from a postcard or a movie or something, but no, it was that. I took that. It was just absolutely thrilling to see it. And the fact that you look around and it's not like you see roller coasters and stuff around you above the rocks. I mean, it's all It is all Star Wars. I mean, it's all Galaxy's Edge. They do such a great job with that. It's incredible. So I highly recommend it. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you make the trip out there. I certainly wasn't. I mean, look, if I had to say, look, would I rather it be, original trilogy era stuff as opposed to First Order? Would I rather it be the Empire and then be OT stormtroopers running around and Darth Vader instead of Kylo Ren? Absolutely. I totally would. But it's not essential. I still had a really good time. But there are signs. I mean, when we were there, Jim, they had just announced that the Book of Boba Fett era Boba Fett and Fennec Shan are now characters that walk around. We didn't see them, but they're now characters that you can see.
And the Mandalorian and Grogu, too.
Are they out there for sure?
Yeah, they're going to be. If they're not, they're on the way.
Mm.
And I saw R2, I don't think we spotted Chewie. We did not see Chewbacca, did we?
No Chewie sighting.
But it was immersive for me because the last times I went with my family, and it was just a stop during our Disneyland day. Going with you and Billy and the Sparkses, that was great because we stayed in Galaxy's Edge. The only time we left Galaxy's Edge was to go to Tomorrowland to ride Star Tours.
Right.
And Swank survived. And because Jason didn't, I took Jason on the original Star Tours during the last night at Endor in Orlando. And that scrambled Jason's eggs pretty bad.
That was rough. That was rough.
But this one, I think you did pretty well. You said when it was over, you're like, okay, rides where I get jostled are done for the day, and that was fine.
Yeah, well,
it was because we did the Falcon, and
right.
we did the Star Tours.
Yeah, Star Tours, and then in Rise of the Resistance, which was.
But that wasn't really. You don't really get shaken up in Rise.
Well, so here's what. Okay, it's getting blasted off into space. That's the sensation
right.
that and I'm on Rise of the Resistance, and I'm thinking, hey, this ought to be pretty chill. I saw it. You're just riding a golf cart around the Star Destroyer. I can do this.
Yeah.
Well, little did I know that golf cart docks into this station, and you get blasted out into space. I was like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, I was like the 3PO of the group. I've forgotten how much I hate space travel.
I was surprised when we ended up in space myself, even. But all in all, it was a spectacular ride. Now, that's something I've never been on before. It was Rise of the Resistance. And I was completely blown away by that. We had the lightning lane for that, and so we didn't have. We basically walked right up to it, and they were putting us in the golf cart right away.
Yeah,
it was spectacular, and it was the greatest Star Wars ride I think I'd ever been on. I really enjoyed riding the Falcon. We made sure you and Billy were the pilots. I like that gunner seat. That gunner seat. That's that might be where I sit from now on.
I've tried to explain this to people who haven't ridden this ride, and I mean, if you haven't ridden it, all I can say is if you've ever imagined what it might be like to ride on the Millennium Falcon, it's exactly that, about times 10. For me, it was the only as I was walking up to the ride, because I tend to get motion sick. I don't love being on airplanes, things like that. But I was for damn sure not going to let any of that anxiety ruin this trip for me. And so I kept my mouth shut. I wasn't acting that I was concerned. But as we were getting real close to that, getting into the Falcon cockpit, I had one question to ask, and that was, does it spin upside down? Because they do that in the Falcon. I was worried that I'll have a heart attack and just die right there in the cockpit, which is, worst ways to go. But thankfully it doesn't do that. But I tell you what, I mean, that sensation of lifting off and you see the blue sky, and the blue sky turns into space, and then you punch it, and Billy Mack was the co-pilot, and he pulled down on and you blasted it into hyperspace. It was fantastic. In fact, our scores were so good that we got the extended version of the ride that includes the asteroid chase.
Yeah.
And that was cool.
Yeah. I'd done it 2 other times, and it was a massive failure. There just seems something about the clarity through the cockpit window that seemed a little more enhanced than when I first went on it. So maybe they worked some of the bugs out, because I was there like only a couple months after it opened to the public. I thought it was a really effective and fun ride. And again, fully immersive. Even the queue for that is kind of fun. And so in the queue, we were watching the Bad Batch trailer. We had, because we were a little bummed. We were chosen in the lottery to attend the Bad Batch panel, but we had committed to Disney and really made that our priority that day. So we couldn't go to the Bad Batch panel. We didn't go to any panels, not a single one.
We've had a lot of questions.
We sat in that guy's podcast, in the podcast room, that guy's podcast.
Right.
His wife is the one who stuck the decal on my back. We went in there just for like a few minutes just to see what was going on.
Oh, before we leave Galaxy's Edge, this I think is one of my favorite photos from the trip, and that's us with the hoisting some beverages there at in the cantina. We actually were able to get into the cantina twice, which was great. And
and we spent about an hour in there both times. They were
several rounds. Some ordered all at once, just to speed things up. But it was great. Yeah, we recommend the Coruscant coolers.
Right after this photo was taken, this girl looked at me. She gave me this horrified look. At least I thought it was horrified. And I was like, "What's her deal? What's up?" And then she turned around and she said to me again. She goes, "You're Jeffrey Dean Morgan." Oh, I said, "Say what?" She goes, "You're Jeffrey Dean Morgan." And I said, "Oh, Negan from The Walking Dead?" "No, I'm not Negan. I'm sorry, I'm not." And she wouldn't take a no. So I was like, "What do you want me to do? Beat you in the head with my baseball bat covered in barbed wire? Will that prove to you that, you know?" But no, it was really kind of fun and sweet. She was sort of young.
This looks a little like Jimmy Mac, I guess.
Now that I'm getting a little more gray in the beard, I think that is something that is, it kind of, and we sort of have like a similar scowl sometime, maybe. I don't know. But it has happened to me in the past where people have said I look like Jeffrey Dean Morgan, or they think I'm him. So I'm very flattered. I'm a fan of the guy. I do like him. But yeah, that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird. So I drowned my sorrows, because I'm not Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So I drowned my sorrows in more Coruscant coolers than I probably should have had. But I think that's my favorite drink too, by the way. And I've noticed a lot of the pomp and circumstance surrounding these drinks at Galaxy's Edge isn't quite amped up to the level it used to be. It seemed like they had crazier looking drinkware, like more exotic drinkware. I mean, we're just drinking out of, highball and cocktail glasses.
People might have been walking off with some of that drinkware, maybe.
But it seemed like there was like drinks were lighting up and there were dry ice effects. And so I didn't notice any of that going on at the bar, but maybe I just didn't look hard enough.
Hey,
but we had a blast.
Yeah, before we've got some news and we've got some audio highlights. Before we break that all down, I do want to take a couple of calls, make sure we get some calls in here. So let's do just that, and let's start with Brad from Chicago. Hey, Brad, you're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Any of that going on at the bar, but maybe I just didn't look hard enough. Hey, but we had a blast.
Hey, Brad.
That's me.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, Brad, you with us?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, man. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Doing real well.
Well, first off, I just want to say thanks for giving such a welcoming atmosphere to someone who was kind of new to like all the party-ish sort of stuff, like the RFR Rooftop Bash. Like I had such a good time.
Oh, thanks, man.
I went back and signed up for Patreon once I got back from my trip.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Thanks for that.
Of course, thank you.
You got a lot of listening to do now.
I do have to agree with Jimmy Mack that once you get going on those Coruscant coolers, they are pretty difficult to to put down.
They are.
Swank won't push back on that. Swank won't push back on that.
I do have an interesting story.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I have an interesting story from the bash. So I was standing by the bathroom, and we were kind of getting to the point where the show was winding down. So by that point, I'd had a couple, of the blue milks. So, senses not what they should be normally.
Mm-hmm.
And I knocked this lightsaber over that I had bought from Galaxy's Edge earlier in the day.
Oh.
And so I turned around and wear my backpack to catch it, because obviously I don't want it to hit the ground. And I do get it, but in the process, I think I may have hit somebody with my backpack. So I turn around, I'm feeling bad. You don't want to hit somebody. And then I turn around and it's actually, I see Daniel Logan there. So
you smacked Daniel with the backpack?
If I hit you with the backpack, Daniel, and you're listening, I apologize. I felt real weird at the Attack of the Clones panel the next day, but
Attack of the Backpack.
That's my buddy. So yeah, it was a great time, but a little unfortunate accident there. But and yeah, the one other thing I wanted to say, Puppet Zero, real star of the show.
Oh,
stole the show.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the authorities were going to come and take him away by the end, but I'll pass that along to Puppet Zero, and I'm sure he'll appreciate it very much.
Thanks,
crazy.
Brad. Appreciate it, man. That was
crazy.
Those are some good ones. Those backpacks were everywhere, man. The backpacks were a hazard.
Left
boom,
and right.
boom, like being in a pinball
they're not
machine.
just backpacks. They're these big, giant things on there. I mean, there's mountain of stuff on their back.
And the big
every time
plastic
they turn,
poster tubes and
bump, just smacking you around. But we got by. We survived. We made it.
Yes.
Zero the Hutt. He survived. Star of the show. If I tell that to Zero, that's going to go to his head.
No, you
now
can't.
I'm gonna have to deal with all kind of competitiveness between the two puppets, Zero and Lando. It's going to be hard. This is going to be tough. It's going to be like being a camp counselor for a bunch of puppets, but we'll make it happen.
Hey, we got Patreon VIP Ben Stein on the line. Hello,
there he
Ben.
is, Ben Stein.
Hi, guys. I had such a great time at the Bash. That was definitely a highlight of the show. I was just on a high after it. You were just so great to everybody there, taking pictures with everyone. And, and thank you for enabling me to sit in the section. I was sitting next to Joe Dallas and his daughter, Jaina. And my story is, so next to Joe and Jaina was also, again, Daniel Logan and his family. And when I looked at Daniel and his son, Caden, I started all of a sudden feeling really emotional. I didn't exactly know why at the moment. But, as I've mentioned to you, I have a 19-year-old son whose name is coincidentally Finn, and he's in college now, and I'm an empty nester. But when I was married between 2001 and 2009, I had two stepsons, Nick and Mac, and I'm still actually very close to them. And seeing Daniel with his son Caden triggered a memory that I took Nick and Mac to see Attack of the Clones in 2002. I had kind of forgotten that was the first time I saw the movie with them. And especially Mac loved Jango Fett, loved Boba Fett. So when I'm sitting next, just a few people away from Daniel Logan at the Bash, I'm just, texting Nick and Mac and just saying, guess who I'm sitting next to? And so they immediately responded. Yeah, so it was just a great story. They immediately responded.
That's
and
great.
Mac said, Mac said to me, Ben, Boba Fett is the GOAT. And so, of course, when kids use or young people use terms like this, I have to look it up in the Urban Dictionary. And GOAT, I guess, greatest of all time. So, but it was just like another really special moment, again, tying my experience of Star Wars with family. And I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Well, thanks for sharing that. That's great. I love when it creates these lasting connections, and all those years later, for you to be able to reach back out to the boys and share that again. It's like it's Star Wars. What's so powerful about it is that it has this ability to just transport you back to a particular moment in time, and I think that is it's very special. There are very few things, certainly in my life, that can do that, and Star Wars is one of them. And thanks very much, Ben. Glad we could help facilitate that in some way. We've got, another Patreon here. By the way, we do have some room on the switchboard, 708-866-1737. Give us a call. Tell us what you thought about Celebration, or if you had some questions. There were a few questions on the chat about the way the panels operated and the coverage of the panels. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. We get into some of the news that was brought about by the panels. Here's Paul from Seattle, Patreon member. Hey, Paul, you're on with Rebel Force Radio.
Hey,
hello. Hey.
Chat, fellas.
Chat.
Glad to be on. So my story is about Celebration. I was able to make Sunday, and earlier in the month we did ICC Con. My brother and I flew down from Seattle, and I was able to get my 501st helmet signed by all the 4 Clone Wars people there. Ashley, Jat, and Anna, and Lancer. And so I was like, man, I wish I could go to Celebration. I was able to find a friend to stay with and go to the Sunday one. And so I had D. Bradley Baker and Sam Whitworth tickets. So Sunday, I get in line at like 2 o'clock, and I'm in line for 3 hours. Finally get D's, and I'm one of the last people to get Sam Whitworth's. And he's been there the whole weekend. And he goes to sign my helmet. He's the last one of the 6. And he had a red pen. And I was like, oh, do you have a blue pen? And he's like, oh, no, like a bunch of kids stole my blue pens and whatnot. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Like, you're Darth Maul. Like, you're red.
Of course.
Like maybe that works. And he's like, no, let's find you a blue pen. And so he had his team go check around. Like, the lights are shutting off. Go find a blue pen so I can get my helmet signed in blue because it's a 501st. And I just thought that kind of thoughtfulness and care at the end of all this was so cool. And I think it just goes to show, like, I had a great experience. And Ashley, James Arnold Taylor took a photo with my helmet. I didn't even pay for that. And it's like these people care so much about them. And I just think it's important to continue to care and support the actors because they put so much into it. Obviously, we care so much about it. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
To have someone be that thoughtful at the end of everything.
It's a great story, and thanks very much, Paul. Appreciate it. And the love for those Clone Wars actors is not waning. If anything, it's getting more intense. It's getting stronger. I texted a little bit back and forth with Matt Lanter when we were out there, and he was like, talking about these breakfasts that he and Ashley were doing, and it was just nonstop, the love. And for him, Ashley, Jad at ICC Con, guys like Sam, the popularity of that show, I think it's like. I think we can call it. It's a classic. Clone Wars is now a classic, and that cast is so fondly thought of, and they do give back a ton. I mean, I don't know anybody that's given back more to fandom than someone like Ashley Eckstein, and created a whole career out of it. She wasn't content just to be like, well, I had a great voice gig for a while, and now the baton has been given to someone else. She's created this incredible career and provided merchandise that would have never made it to out to the public if it hadn't been for her.
Oh, yeah. And she was soaking up the love this weekend, man.
Yeah.
She got to meet Hayden Christensen, which was cool. She hosted the 20th anniversary panel. That entire panel can be seen on YouTube on the Star Wars channel. So really, really worth checking that out. And she is just the best. There's no question about it. Sam Whitworth, that doesn't surprise me. That's the type of guy Sam is. See, Sam's a fan, and he does it. He knows as a fan, he would have been disappointed if he had someone sign his helmet in red when he didn't want it to be red. So Sam will go the extra mile. That's one thing about him, is that he's a super fan just like we are.
And a collector.
And I can say that as someone who knows Sam. I've been to his parents' house with him. I mean, I know he grew up like 10 minutes away from me. We didn't know each other growing up. Sam went to the school, Glenbrook South, that Billy Mack is an administrator at. And
wait a minute, he's an administrator of that facility?
Well, he runs. That
was a joke.
Like
I'm the administrator of this facility.
Yeah, I'm still just nervous bringing up Billy's name at all after you showed that picture of his doctor.
Oh, God.
What did Schwenk have to go and do that for? That's what I'm going to be hearing.
He knows my number. He could ask me. Here's a super chat from Stephen Maxwell. Oh, that's nice, Stephen. Just sending us $5. Appreciate it, man. We got JD. No message, just to say thank you. That's very kind. Thank you very much. Consider us thanked. Here's Quentin Thiedens. Great pics and video. Looks like it was a blast. It was a blast.
Oh, it was.
It was definitely a blast.
And I'm really missing not being able to have an adult cocktail with Jason, Kevin Lyle, Tyler. Just, it just became lifestyle, when you're out there, a weekend in Nashville. Yeah, that's a great little getaway, but almost a full week in Anaheim, in like living in Star Wars town, like we were, that becomes a lifestyle thing. You really start to adapt, and
you don't want it to end.
And like the reality does come crashing out. But we have RFR, so the party goes on forever and ever. It's not over till we say it's over.
Peter Besser saying, "Gotta run, Mom's B-Day. See you next week.
Oh.
Respect." All right, happy birthday,
Beiser. Oh no, Beiser.
Beiser. Is it Beiser? Okay.
Here's how you remember. Here's how you
Joe
remember. 'Cause
Besser.
he's an RFR VIP. He's an similar, but Peter has the I. He says the way I remember it is there is no one nicer than Peter Beiser. That's how you.
Oh.
I think
I'll
it was
never
Eric
forget
from
now.
Phoenix who gave me that tip. Eric from Phoenix gave me that tip.
I will never forget that now.
And Eric from Phoenix, another RFR VIP, him and Peter Beiser have hung out together. They've gone out and they've had beverages together and they've developed a friendship, a couple of RFR VIPs coming together. That's one thing that out of all of the wonderful opportunities and experiences this podcast and friendships this podcast has provided me, the thing that really I enjoy the most aren't the friendships I make necessarily, which I cherish, but it's seeing the other people being brought together by this show, seeing old friends reunite at the RFR Bash, and then learning that the only reason they're old friends is because they met via this community. That's the type of stuff that really sticks with me. We got 20 guys. Tyler's managing 2 houses. 20 guys are all together because they met each other via Rebel Force Radio. That's the stuff where I really start to feel very just like profoundly moved by the community that surrounds this show.
Yeah.
And I really like that. That's the power of Star Wars, really, more than anything. It is.
We're just sort of a lightning rod for it,
Yeah.
Star Wars.
We're a lightning rod.
Gathers the
We're
energy.
definitely a lightning rod. There's no question we're a lightning rod. I know Lucasfilm considers us to be a lightning rod of great magnitude. But I just want to thank everyone for making this such a great community, because for me and Jason to be with everyone for a week, it just really reinforces anything and everything we've been trying to do with this show. So thank you. Cheers.
Yes, thank you. All right. How about, speaking of VIPs, we got Eric from Phoenix. Eric was there. He was at the Bash. He was in the comfy seats. And he joins us now. Hey, Eric.
Hey, chut, guys.
Chut.
Chut.
Hey, just 3 things. So first of all, the Bash was absolutely phenomenal. And you guys, I know it took a ton of work, and I know Tyler and Brian, and I'm sure a bunch of others were running around like crazy making that thing work, but we just had the best time, absolutely the best time. And it was so great meeting all the different RFR fans. Some people I recognized from chat, some people I didn't. Joe Dallas, Ben Stein, of course, getting a chance to meet them, but just all the other people. Friends that we met at Reggie's in 2019, we got to see again. Our friends we've known for 17 years. It was just a great event. And one of the best things was I got to go up and talk to Dan Madsen and just thank him for Celebration 1. My wife and I happened to be there, and it was just great to get a chance to chat with him. And then at Disney, the Hyperspace Mountain, did you guys not ride that? Space Mountain?
No, we didn't.
Hyperspace Mountain.
We wanted to. There was just issues with time. There was no way Jason was going to go on.
Yeah, I had already laid down. Well, I wouldn't have stopped Bill and Jim from doing it. I would have sat it out for sure. Because Jim, you had ridden that version of the ride before when we were in Orlando, I believe.
Here's a funny piece of trivia information. the Disney Imagineer who came up with that idea, Hyperspace Mountain, was with us at the RFR Bash last week. The guy whose idea that was, he's no longer with Disney.
Is that Scott?
Josh Shipley.
Oh, Josh Shipley. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was there. And he's a great guy. I love Josh. And he took me on a tour of Disneyland following Star Wars Celebration Anaheim 2015. And I stuck around for an extra day. And he took me on Hyperspace Mountain and told me the whole background behind it. Josh is a fascinating guy. Like I said, he's no longer with the Disney company. And I'm sure some other Imagineers took his idea and got all the credit for it. But it was Josh's idea. He showed me on his phone like early mock-ups of the ride he created. There was a video he made of like going through Space Mountain with Star Wars music playing, and then he superimposed stuff on it. It was just really cool. And he showed me the whole pitch for it and everything. And so they had it at Disneyland briefly. It was like something, I think it would appear seasonally at first. And then now I think it's a permanent fixture on Space Mountain. I think Space Mountain is now permanently known.
Oh, is it really? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a mashup that they do. Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah.
Well, no, we were there in March. I think it's something they do for May the 4th. And then they extended it because of Star Wars night on the 27th or whatever Friday night was.
Mm-hmm.
So we had ridden it. I don't remember riding it in 2010 when they had the Star Wars night at last year.
It wasn't
Endor.
there.
I don't remember that.
It wasn't there. Nope.
Yeah,
it wasn't
so
there.
It was so cool. And then the coolest thing is Friday night we got stuck on it and they had to come and escort us off. So I got to see what it looked like with the lights up, which Jason would have really liked. That was really cool.
Jason, his prayers would have been answered if that happened. The ride stops and the lights turn on. Jason would be like, "Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, God."
Yeah. And then we ran into Boba Fett on Saturday. We were eating breakfast and I heard a dad talking about Boba Fett. I didn't know anything about it. And so we spent about an hour trying to find him because none of the Batuians would tell you where they were at. It's not like the rest of Disney where they tell you when characters are going to show up. I could not get a straight answer out of any of those people, but eventually ran into him. It was really cool to see Boba Fett from Book of Boba Fett at Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, that's great.
And then as we were leaving, here comes Jon Favreau walking into Disneyland. So did a quick shout out to him to say, hey, we love the Mandalorian. And then we were on our way.
Cool.
So we did not talk to him. I did not stop him. He had no less than 10 security guys with him.
I'm sure.
But we did. I just shouted at him quick to let him know, hey, we love the Mandalorian. So anyway, great weekend, guys. It was great seeing both of you.
Good seeing you, man.
I just cannot tell folks listening enough. If you ever get a chance to go to an RFR event, 2019, that was our favorite thing at Star Wars Celebration. And this year, the Rooftop Bash was definitely our best. And it was because of the work of you two. And then just getting a chance to meet all the other RFR fans and get to interact with them. And I probably only listened to 30 minutes of the show because I was talking to people the whole time. We had the best time.
Well, that's why we recorded it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I did go back and listen. I did go back and watch it.
Thanks, Eric. We love when you call, and it's even better when we're there in person here. Here's another super chat. We got Garrett. Garrett says, if Star Wars Celebration comes back to the U.S. in 2024, I'll be there and at the RFR Bash with my buddy Taylor. I'll definitely be at the next ICC Con. Thanks for everything y'all do. Might upgrade to RFR VIP soon. All right. Well, we'd love to have you.
Garrett. Then we'll be talking.
Throwing down.
Yeah, because anyone who's an RFR VIP has the opportunity to host RFR Q&A. And that's something that we're going to start scheduling again here. And so all you RFR VIPs start considering when we're going to get together and talk. We're kind of taking a little brief hiatus from recording VIP Q&As because of the Anaheim trip. But I think we'll probably be jumping back on this in the saddle next week. So all you VIPs, be looking for the post on Patreon. I'll be recruiting you guys soon. We got some news, Jason.
Yeah,
we,
we've got
run through
news.
Some of these stories.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk real quick about the panels and the way it was handled. If there was a dark side to Celebration, I think that the panels and the lack of coverage was one of them. I will say that everything from what appears to be, from my vantage point, what I'm hearing, poor venue management in that arena that was sort of the main Celebration stage. There was an excess of killed seats. There was more capacity than what they allowed for. I think that's disappointing. I also think that, and they've done this at previous celebrations, broadcast the panels on the live stream. Because here's the thing. There's an attitude of, well, if we do that, or if we announce we're going to do that, or if we set a precedent for doing that, which, by the way, they already have, then people aren't going to line up and show up. Yes, they will. Yes, they will. They'll still be there. They'll line up. You'll have overflow into your streaming rooms like you did, all throughout Celebration. What you won't have is people that paid a lot of money to travel there and then be disappointed because they've got to, read the news on Jedi News instead of actually, seeing it and hearing it live. So, Jim, you had mentioned that the Attack of the Clones 20th anniversary panel was streamed in its entirety. Yes, it's archived. It's there, but it was the only one of those big events on the main stage.
There were a few others. The Ian McDiarmid panel was presented in its completion. The Disney park stuff. There's one or two panels about Galaxy's Edge and the history of Star Tours. The panel with Leland Chee about Lego, Star Wars Lego, that was presented in its completion.
I know, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Disney Plus
the big
stuff, the Bad Batch, the Lucasfilm.
We want the Disney, we want
Disney
all that
Plus
stuff.
Yeah. Even if you have to black out the trailers, I get that. That's fine. Black out the trailers, but you still get the conversation, the announcements surrounding it. So I do love
how they utilize the streaming stage, though, because while you're not getting the panels, you're still getting a lot of those personalities that come out there. And they do a bunch of like little mini panels, 10 or 15-minute conversations, and it's unpredictable. You never know who's going to come out next. I really like that. That's a great feature, and I hope they continue to do it for sure in future conventions, like in Europe next year. I don't believe they've ever tried anything like a streaming stage overseas. There definitely wasn't one in Japan, and I don't think there's been one for the 3 in Europe. So we'll see how that goes down. I'm real curious to see how Celebration Europe goes down. I would imagine that with the Andor series being shot out there, you'll get a similar presentation to the Mandalorian Experience, just with Andor props and sets and vehicles and what have you. That would be great if they could pull that off. But I would also love to see some original actors from the original trilogy, because so many of them are based in London and Europe, and I think they're more accessible. So I'd love to see that, because there were really only like 5 or 6 original trilogy actors at this convention. You had McDiarmid, Anthony Daniels, a couple of Ewoks, and Akbar. I'm probably leaving out someone else, but those are the 5 I could think of off the top of my head. And somebody from official, someone. Well, not. There were restrictions on bringing in original trilogy actors, from what I understand, and
restrictions.
And that came from Lucasfilm, because the priority was the streaming series and stuff.
That's
like
why
that.
That's probably why you had some of those people signing in that annex,
right,
at the Hilton.
No priority for the sequel trilogy either. So before anyone wants to start yelling about some grand conspiracy, there were very few actors from the sequel trilogy at all in attendance. Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
I can't even think of Billy Lord. I think that's it.
Yeah, I don't know,
think that's it.
but I don't know how good those relationships are, to be honest with you. I don't know how solid the relationships are with some of those.
Well,
those lead
I mean,
actors.
all the actors have kind of, the big 3, they've all publicly aired frustrations and Star Wars fatigue following the wrap up of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Now that's no secret to anyone. I think Daisy Ridley has kind of softened her stance. But Oscar Isaac was like, no, I'm done. John Boyega was really frustrated and done, but I wouldn't rule out any of those guys coming back for a convention or a series,
Eric's making a really good point. I want to point this out, and this is something they could do. It says anyone who pays for Celebration should get access to all of the panels electronically. Those of us that didn't attend shouldn't get all of it. The people that attended spent a bunch of money. I absolutely agree with that. You're 100% right. They would be able to issue you some sort of promo code, some limited access to be able to stream those and watch them, and then they don't have to be put on YouTube, forever and ever and ever. So yeah, they got it. They've got crowds that are too large for the venues that they're choosing, and they've got to make some sort of concession, I believe, in order to get people. If I wasn't there to cover it for Rebel Force Radio and not there with my buds and all of that, and having had experienced years of when the conventions were smaller and more accessible, I'd have been fit to be tied. I really would have. But, I'm kind of at that place where been there, done that, bought the t-shirt literally, and it doesn't get me too bent out of shape. But I do think about the people that, load the family up and go see that, and they want to get close to the stars. And it's like, no, you got to get in a lottery. And I don't know many people that had much luck with that lottery, by the way.
Maddie does bring up a point. You do that, and they're going to be recorded and leaked anyway. And just by Rebel Force Radio alone. I mean, here's the highlights of everything.
Too bad. Everything gets
leaked. Leaving no fan behind. Oh, Lucasfilm used to get mad at us for saying we're leaving no fan behind.
Yeah, they asked us to stop using that tagline.
I said stop using that.
Isn't that weird? Why would they want us to stop using that tagline?
I mean,
makes you really wonder.
Whatever.
All right. Hey, let's get to a few of these things here because we're running a bit long. So Tales of the Jedi, that was a big topic. This was rumored ever since there was that piece of merch that was given out to employees that had logos of all of the announced Disney Plus series and one unannounced, and that was Tales of the Jedi. So rumors were quickly circulating, and now we've got some clarification. We know now what Tales of the Jedi is an animated series. It's going to be a 6-part animated short series. It will be on Disney Plus this fall and produced by Dave Filoni. It will see the return of familiar faces, Ahsoka Tano and Count Dooku in 3 distinct eras of their lives. Each will receive 3 episodes. And there was a glimpse on the screen, if you were there at the panel, of a young Count Dooku. And Filoni reminded the crowd that, he was a Jedi, as if we forgot. And then there was also Qui-Gon Jinn back in action. That was really exciting. And the voice is going to be provided by Liam Neeson and his son, because they're going to see a couple different versions of they must have paid the per diem.
Oh, sure, I got my son drinking scotch and Marlboros just to prep, and he's doing a pretty good job, Sounds just like me. Sounds just like me.
When he was younger, of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Qui-Gon, he's back. And, of course, Qui-Gon Jinn was the Padawan to Count Dooku. So we're going to see Dooku. We're going to see him with his Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn in action. And then the other 3 episodes are going to feature a young Ahsoka, it looks like. But something tells me there's going to be a format here where it's going to be like Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan in the Jedi Temple telling stories, Like maybe it's Obi-Wan telling the story of Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku to Ahsoka when she says, how does that happen? How does a Jedi become evil like that? She obviously would have questions. And so Obi-Wan would fill her in. And then his story is what we see unfold. The same thing with Ahsoka. Now, Ahsoka might be telling her story to Anakin and Obi-Wan, turn the table. And then you see her life story play out there as these animated shorts. So it sounds like something fun. I don't know how much we're really going to have to sink our teeth into here when they say shorts. We've seen things called shorts by Lucasfilm that they're like 1 minute long. They don't really have substance. I think with Dave Filoni working on this, there's going to be substance to it. So Filoni did talk a little on the streaming stage about Tales of the Jedi and sort of how it has come to reality.
Super fun, just a little, passion project to tell some short stories. Just came about out of the blue. Carrie Beck and Athena Portillo, they really liked these stories. I was writing these little shorts on the airplane, and when I was traveling, and they were the only ones I let read them. And when they were reading them, they're like, "Oh, I really like these. Would you want to make these?" And I thought, "Sure, yeah. I mean, why not? I'm not busy." So they found the resources and the people, and it was a great chance for me to connect with the animation team again, and to work with Ashley, Matt, James a tiny bit again, and because we have such a long relationship together, so it was fun. It made me nostalgic for those times, and they're just interesting little shorts that tell the journey of two characters in brief little bites, throughout their lives. So I'm excited for you guys to see them.
I like that Dave Filoni is now at a place at Lucasfilm where he can scribble down a story on the back of a cocktail napkin on an airplane, and they go, "Let's make it."
Yeah.
Let's do it. You got a minute and a half of story? We're doing it. Came from the mind of Dave Filoni. Came from under that hat. We're making it. No, I think it's good. I really like this idea. I hope that, as you were mentioning, I hope that it's substantive. Hope there's enough meat on the bone, and it's not just like one of these things that we might see paraded out on the Star Wars Kids YouTube channel or something like that.
Yikes. Yeah, like that. Star Wars Blips or whatever that show is. I mean, there's some real rough material there. But like I said, the mind of Filoni and stuff. And I'm happy to see he's using his time so wisely. He's sitting on these airplanes flying out to Asia all the time to work with these animators. And, when they say Dave Filoni's busy all the time, he is, because he's mostly in the air. And so he's able to use his time in a creative and productive way. And so he came up with these shorts, and it keeps him connected with animation, which is kind of nice, because Dave is really, the wheels are spinning for his live action career in a great way right now.
Those at the panel actually saw one of the episodes, and our pal Rich Brendel is reminding us that the one that they saw was the origin of Ahsoka, and it was about, he says, at least 10 minutes long. If you're wondering, like I was, what the animation style is like, thinking, is it going to be Rebels style? Is it going to be Resistance style? Everyone's saying that it's on par with what we saw at the end of the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars.
That's right.
In Bad Batch. So
that's right. Yeah. So that's another great function of these shorts, is that it keeps that whole machine rolling.
Yes.
And I think that they can continue to do this then with other Jedi moving forward in future seasons, should this be successful. They can spin off and do a thing about Plo Koon, which Filoni would enjoy, and a Mace Windu maybe, or a Kit Fisto. The roster of Jedi is enormous. So there's a lot they can do with this brand, and I hope it's a success, and I hope it's a lot of fun. Coming this fall, we have a very busy fall for Star Wars. My God, it's going to be a very busy fall. So in Dave Filoni, he's going to have projects we're going to be able to enjoy. And there's all talk about all kind of different streaming series. There's these rumors flying around, and I guess a rumor that has maybe picked up a little speed lately is this idea of a Palpatine origin series. All right, that's being rumored around. And during Ian McDermott's panel, someone asked him about that. And this was what he had to say about those rumors.
I think it's a very good rumor. Yes, I mean, you could do that with practically any of the characters to whom it has not been done already. Yes, I think, because we saw him rise when he was 50, didn't we? What did he go through to get there, and how did Sidious come about? I think all of that's very interesting. And no doubt there are people as we speak somewhere around this city thinking along those lines. And it would be great. But anyone younger than 78 is probably more suited to the part than me. And here comes the qualifying bit. Although, have you seen what they can do with faces? I'll better leave it at that.
Oh, he's 78.
I didn't know he was that old either. He looks real good for 78.
Yeah, he looks like he's in good shape.
Yeah, he's moving along real good. He's not doing the shuffle, that hits in those late 70s.
He still got it. It comes to that, he can give you the fingertips of the lightning coming down. He still got it. So other, not really rumors, but fans are really, fans of Solo would love to see a sequel. They have a hashtag Make Solo 2 happen.
Yeah.
And they're really gung-ho about having a follow-up to I'm a driver. I'm a flyer. They really want more of that. And so Ron Howard was on the streaming stage, and he was asked, will there be a Solo 2? Here's what he had to say.
I know there are no specific plans, but by the same token, as I think you've all come to understand, you never know. And never say never.
Yeah.
So he says there are no specific plans, but it could happen, of course. Based
I
on
think
Kathleen
somewhere
Kennedy's-
along that line, that story is going to be told. It's this huge gap now that they've created. At some point,
yes,
they're on their way to Tatooine. We got to, he's going to, botch that job for Jabba. I want to see it. I mean, I don't even care if it's animated. Maybe I'd prefer it that way, but I'd really want to see that.
Maybe that's the way to go.
Maybe it is.
I mean, I'd rather see animation than a novel or a comic book.
Oh, for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So Ewan McGregor, he was the big superstar of the week. Really nice to see Ewan at a convention. We've never seen him at a convention, Star Wars or anything else, really. Maybe he's appeared at San Diego Comic-Con, but I don't think so. It takes a lot to pull Ewan off that motorcycle, you know what I mean? and he was just really, in my opinion, the big star of the week. He's so cool. The story about him and Hayden's budding bromance, it doesn't just stop with those two. I think everyone loves Ewan McGregor. He's just like chill, cool, super good looking, great actor, and he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And he sure seems to be taking a very genuine and authentic approach to this return to Star Wars. And just great to see him and Hayden out and about. So at one point, I believe this happened I want to say it happened on Saturday, but Ewan just appeared on the streaming stage unannounced by himself. He wasn't being interviewed by anyone. Nobody was, no, ninth rate comedian was jumping up and down, screaming and stuff. It was just Ewan. And it was really nice. He came out there just to thank the fans. Check this out.
I just wanted to say, I can hardly speak after speaking to you all for the last 2 days, but I just wanted to come out and say thank you to you, because I've never done a convention before. I've never been a celebration before. I didn't really know, I guess, what it was like. And what's been really amazing is to be able to, when I'm signing autographs or taking photographs, is to be able to meet you, even though if it's just for a second. I just wanted you to know that it's meant something to me very special, and I've loved every minute of it. And so I wanted to say thank you. And I'll be back next year, yeah.
That's the promise. All right, let's see you back.
Right. If he can.
Of course. He's still a very in-demand actor. That's for sure.
But, there are a lot of rumors out there that there could be a season 2 of Kenobi, so it'll make all the sense in the world for him to be at Star Wars Celebration next year as well. And and everyone would love to see him. He had one of the busiest lines throughout the whole weekend, and the fans love him. I mean, I really got to tell you, my Ewan McGregor appreciation really dramatically rose after this week in Anaheim. And I know everyone else who was there feels the same way, because listen to this crowd. Listen to them.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was amazing watching the first 2 episodes with you the other night. I hope you love episode 3 and then 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 10. Woo!
Oh, there's another strong hint that something is bubbling under the surface here, and it sure seems likely we'll be getting more than 6 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi, especially in the wake of the popularity of it all.
Yeah.
The amount of eyeballs that have been on this thing, and just my gut feeling that this is some really good Star Wars that they're making right now. So I'm pretty happy, and the word is optimism, really. We've gone through a few tough years transitioning from George Lucas's Star Wars into the Disney Star Wars, and we didn't have any breathing time with that sequel trilogy and everything. And then around 17 and 18, 2018, things just really seemed to come off the rails. And I was very nervous for the future of Star Wars. I thought things were being mismanaged, misguided, and really Star Wars was being misinterpreted. And I didn't appreciate that. And now I really feel good. I feel really good about the future of Star Wars. The Mandalorian's been spectacular. I mean, I know a lot of people had hangups about Book of Boba Fett, but this Kenobi show is really, I think it's really something special. And I think they have the foundation to continue making Star Wars, quality Star Wars indefinitely. And I'm on board for it. Somebody who's never going to be away from Star Wars is Ashley Eckstein. You can bring in all the Rosario Dawsons you want, and Ashley, she is resilient, she is a survivor, and she has deep roots in the Star Wars community. She will be voicing Ahsoka in Star Wars Tales too, so she's not done with Ahsoka. Don't you worry about that. And at one point, it seemed like while she was on the streaming stage, it all kind of really got heavy for her, and she got a little emotional while she was up there. And I found myself feeling very moved as someone who knows Ashley Eckstein the way we do, and have known her for going on 14, 15 years now. Again, as I said with Ewan McGregor, there's this authenticity, there's this integrity, there's something just beautiful about the way they approach Star Wars. And I can say everything about Ashley Eckstein, but you know what I'm getting at. So she's up there.
She's the real deal. She's the real deal.
She's the real deal, and she has a real deal moment on the streaming stage. Check this out.
I want you all to know that when you share a story with me, when you come up to my table over there, or we talk on social media, it's always a safe space. And I hear you, and I see you. And when you share your stories with me of how Ahsoka has changed your life, or in many cases, how she saved your life, that sticks with me. And I think about it, and I remember everyone's stories. And so to be here today, 15 years later, or almost 15 years later, and to see all of the Ahsoka love, and now Ahsoka is getting her own series, and to hear all of your stories, it's just surreal, and it's something I don't take lightly. I might not be your live action Ahsoka, but I want to be your real life version of Ahsoka Tano. Thank you. And I promised I wouldn't get emotional, but I really, really care about each and every one of you. And I thank you, and I'm just honored to be here 15 years later celebrating Ahsoka with all of you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Something
And
me and Swank heard. Go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, I mean,
what
she has that personality, that openness, and not all celebrities sitting behind an autograph table take the amount of time and care that someone like Ashley Eckstein does, and she just has that. Yeah, it's totally for real. She really does want to get to know you, and she wants to help, wants to be of service. She has a very service type mindset. And so she's found a way to serve as a symbol with this character that's inspired so many people.
Well, just hearing the emotion in her voice made me think about hanging out on the convention floor or at the RFR Bash or wherever, you and me, Jason. And both of us noticed that a lot of people were coming up to us saying things like, Rebel Force Radio has really helped me get through some tough times, man. You guys really were there for me. And I mean, we've never heard it like we heard it at this convention. And, I know we're trying to get away from all of this terrible stuff the last 2.5 years have laid on us with the pandemic and the economy and everything else under the sun. And so I know a lot of people are going through some really hard times. But it really just makes me real impressed when people come up and, Ashley says, people come up to her and they say, Ahsoka means so much. People come up to us and they say, our little podcast helps them get through tough times. And I'm just like, wow, man, Star Wars is just so potent to do that, to offer us that escapism and to give us some hope, I mean,
yeah.
And so that's, I just feel it coming all, to a head lately where people are just like, they really need Star Wars. And so that's why I'm happy that I have optimism about the future for Star Wars, is because it's going to be there for us when we need it. And that's, that makes me feel real good. What else makes me feel real good is this. There it is. Dave Prowse pin. Billy sent me the picture. Kevin Lyle lost his mind over this thing, man. He had to have it on his coat. Dave Prowse. So this must have been a fan club sort of thing that was
produced. It had to be something. I mean, normally when you see a picture and a name like that on a button, it's, for president.
Right. Vote for me and I'll set you free.
With the Dave glasses Prowse. And the hair. Man, I love it. We got a couple more.
We have
calls.
some news, but we're
getting
going along with this news. So I'm going to push it back. I just want to say Andor premieres on August 31st. There's a new trailer for that. Maybe me and Swank will circle back around to that in the next week or two and give you the breakdown of the trailer like we do. Same thing with the Bad Batch. Bad Batch premieres on September 28th, a month after Andor, which tells me we're going to have about 6 or 7 weeks of Bad Batch crossing over with Andor. I don't know how we're going to manage that here as far as after shows go and stuff. Me and Jason have to talk about it. If you guys had to choose between two, I don't want to lay that on anyone. Me and Jason will talk about it. And we'll figure this all out.
We'll figure it out.
So much news to go through from
this Grand Inquisitor. I think we should mention that because that's news
this
to me.
One we
saw
mention.
that, yeah.
Yeah, I caught this today. There's a new story in Vanity Fair. This is an interview with Joby Harold, who is one of the screenwriters for Obi-Wan Kenobi. This thing just went up. I couldn't read it because I guess I've read my allotment of Vanity Fair articles for the month. Thanks, Anthony Bresnikan. So it's behind a paywall for me. So maybe, Jason, you can send me a copy of this. But so Joby Harold was asked about the Grand Inquisitor's death and what kind of impact is that going to have on the canon? Because, of course, the Grand Inquisitor was around for season 1 of Star Wars Rebels, which clearly happens after the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So how could he be there? Well, all Joby Harold said was this: we would never break canon. So that's all I'll say. Canon is everything. So as my gut reaction to the death of the Grand Inquisitor in episode 2, maybe think it was some kind of bait and switch going on here. But then when Vader reinforced it in episode 3 and said to Reva she can take the Grand Inquisitor's place, then I thought, well, nobody's playing a trick on Darth Vader here. No Inquisitor is tricking Darth Vader. So what's up? The Grand Inquisitor must be dead. And so I rolled with it. And I said on the last after show, well, I guess it looks like he's not coming back anymore. But people have pointed out to me that the IMDb page for Rupert Friend claims he's in 5 episodes.
Ah, okay.
So he could very well be in these final 3.
He's just
missing out.
He's going to be pretty pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
The next time we see him.
Other people say his species. This is my favorite one. They're like, well, it's, he can withstand that blow to the gut because his species has 2 stomachs. And I was thinking to myself, where did that ever come up in the show? Did the Grand Inquisitor say, man, my stomachs are empty. I got to get 2 big men. Did he ever say anything like that? How do we know? Because you read it in some book.
Yeah.
But it does appear that all that stuff is being taken seriously. If it was in a book before, then the writers are going to try to incorporate it so they don't break this canon.
Right. You're not going to break Foley canon. It's not going to happen.
No. So, 2 stomachs or not, I think the guy is. You're behind the paywall now too. So I guess.
No. I'm good. I'm gonna print this off so while I still can.
Or copy and paste to me.
Yeah, I will.
So that's what's happening with the Grand Inquisitor. I just thought this is what the creatives want us to think, that he's dead. So I'll think that way. If Darth Vader feels that way, then that's how I feel. He must be dead. But no, he will probably come back because it just doesn't make sense with Rebels. It just doesn't add up. So there's some sort of bait and switch. Expect to see the Grand Inquisitor back, as I've been saying, and then I didn't say it, but now I'm saying it again. There were trailers for Mando season 3 and Ahsoka shown at Star Wars Celebration. I still have not seen these. So if somebody knows how I can get my eyeballs, how me and Jason can get our eyeballs on these.
I don't care if they're not perfect. I don't need them to be perfect, but I haven't seen links to anything. I know there's this whole, Reddit. I don't know. I don't go on Reddit. I have no idea. So someone was saying that they're available on Reddit, but I feel like it's like whack-a-mole. They show up and then they get
gone,
taken down. But
I tried finding them today.
So send them to a show at rebelforceradio.com.
I saw the Mandalorian thing, and it looked real good for the first few seconds, and then the guy who was shooting the video must have gotten nervous, so he pointed the camera down, and you can only see half the screen. I can report that there were people there monitoring audience activity in that main arena at Star Wars Celebration. They had these little infrared telescope things that they were holding up. I'd see them and they'd hold them up and they'd be looking in the crowd to see if anyone's recording. They were doing it all during the Kenobi world premiere. And I was just like, wow, that's really, those are great. They want to make sure nobody is live streaming it. That's the main thing.
Right, of course.
I mean, you can take your screen grabs and stuff and post them online. Who's going to care? The show was going to be on Disney Plus within the next hour. So I think they just didn't want to get beat to the punch. They didn't want somebody on their Facebook page live streaming the Kenobi premiere. But it kind of unnerved me too as they're walking around.
Yeah, I can.
And so I kept looking over at Kyle, I'm like, I bet Kyle's up to something here. Kyle's wired for sound and video or something here. But no, I didn't see them bust anybody.
All right, let's close it out. We've got 2 really patient callers that have been waiting, so let's get to it here. Okay. We've got first-time caller Stephanie from Los Angeles, and I see Rich. Rich, we're going to get to you in just a minute, but let's talk to Stephanie. You're on with Rebel Force Radio. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hello. I met you on Saturday with my daughter. My daughter took a picture of the 3 of us together, you, me, and Billy, in between the Hilton and the Marriott. I was dressed as General Leia.
General Leia. Yeah,
anyway.
Yes, I remember General Leia.
That was me. That was me. I mean, even if you don't remember, thank you for saying.
I do absolutely remember General Leia, because you're the only General Leia that I saw all weekend.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And I usually cosplay her when I'm at Galaxy's Edge every week. So even
you're one of
the
those
security people that work at Disney.
You're like David Sparks.
The cast members think I work there.
Lives out there.
Yeah.
Keep your eye open.
Yeah.
For Sparky.
But I just wanted to point out a few things. Number one, one of the original trilogy actors actually works at Galaxy's Edge.
No kidding.
Ooh.
And her name is Margot, and she was at one of the signing tables, and she works at Doc Ondor's.
Does she?
Yeah.
Margot,
And she
what's her
works
last
with
name?
Doc
Like
Ondor's for real.
Apostolos? Margot
Yes.
Apostolos?
Yes.
Is that her
Yes.
last name? Oh, yeah. I've
Yes.
met her. I met her.
Apostoli.
Here in Chicago. I did a joint interview with her and the late great Felix Silla. And then I became determined to find a name for Felix Silla's Ewok. That's what started all those dominoes falling. And Leland Shee gave it
Yeah,
the
we
name
can go
One
down a lot of
Domino.
rabbit holes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
but
Star Wars
but
is
she
for.
works there. So
She works
just
there.
wanted
No
to point
kidding.
that out.
Cool.
Yeah, she works at Doc
Is that-
Ondor's. Yeah, she's worked there since it opened.
she's just behind the counter or something.
Exactly.
Hanging-
Exactly.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, everyone go in and say hi
Yeah,
to
but
Margot.
you know,
she's a real life
she's
Ewok.
of small stature, but she's
Yeah.
a real life Ewok. And the second thing I wanted to tell you is that they did, when they showed us the trailers, I was at the Mando panel
Yes.
at the the large stage with my daughters, and the trailer that they showed us was longer than the one they showed later on the Celebration live stage. It added more things to it. So and we looked at each other and said, "Hey, that's not what they cut it off, and there was more to it."
Can you
So
recall
maybe
anything?
when you're actually at
Can
a
you
panel?
recall?
No.
Can you recall anything from that trailer
No.
that was omitted?
I
mean,
can't
you
even
just-
remember an episode. I can't even remember an episode after I watch it. I have to watch them multiple times because I'm not quick like I'm not quick like that. I do not remember right now, but I know it was different.
No,
there was maybe
more.
another
More to it.
20-30 seconds more.
All right.
The third thing is that I witnessed this moment outside the convention center where Ian McDiarmid was there, and he was with his wife, I believe. And he was just taking pictures like a regular fan of all the cosplays and everything. This is at the end of the day. And so he's doing that. So I'm trying to get a picture of him, kind of stealth picture of him. And then suddenly these group of Mando cosplayers came across his view, and he's taking pictures of them. And then these other fans, they kind of shoved Ian McDiarmid aside so they could get a better picture of the Mandalorian cosplayer.
Really?
And I just thought that was hilarious. I kind of looked at them like, and his wife was a little alarmed, But he just like shook his head. It's like, well, Star Wars is for everybody in every generation. So
yeah,
I thought that was hilarious.
That is funny. That's funny. And I know he was
hilarious.
imbibing at over at Galaxy's Edge in the cantina at one point.
Did
you say his wife?
Gosh, how funny. Somebody was
his
with him
wife?
who was around the same age as him. I don't know if it was his wife or not.
Okay.
But he was with somebody who was close in age to him.
Okay.
But I really
I know our
don't
buddy Michael Havens from
and-
Nashville at the ICC was with him as well. I saw him in a few photos. Those guys, they have a famous friendship.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the call. We got time for one more here. Here's our pal. He Patreon member and longtime listener, our buddy Rich. We were hanging out with Rich on the Lanai. Hey, Rich.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you doing, buddy?
Chut.
Chut. No pressure. You're the last caller. Make this one good.
Yeah, so to start out with, to answer your question from the last caller for like the Mando trailer, I actually was into that in on that panel, and they did show a family of Babu Fricks there.
Really?
Like a family of Fricks.
Oh,
yeah.
a Frick family.
And that was one thing that really stood out that I thought was.
Yeah.
I was like, I wish the guys were here to see that.
Yeah.
So,
well, we will see it.
We are gonna.
We will see it.
We are gonna see some more. We're gonna see some more freaks hanging around. So That was cool. I think one of the highlights for me of the whole thing, though, was just all the hangs. Everything from going to Galaxy's Edge with the guys the first day to you, Jason, you and I singing the duet of the Confrontation.
Confrontation from Les Mis, the musical. Yeah, Rich and I were we were vocally sparring there. As I think that was when Jimmy Mack went back to the room for the Dave Prowse pin. I think that was going on. Yeah, that was a good time. Someday, we'll have to rehearse that a little bit more. Workshop it, as we say in the theater business, and then we'll bring it out at some point. Maybe we'll even cosplay. Who knows?
Next bash, you guys can do it. We'll all wear this on our shirts while we're watching you do it.
Right. Well, Rich, it was a pleasure to sing with you. That's for sure.
Yeah, man, it was great hanging out with you guys and hanging out at the house. The two Airbnbs that Tyler was talking about. One night we got us all together in one of the houses, cranked open some Skywalker wine, and just had a good old time. And there were some fun times there.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. So,
all right, buddy. Well, thanks again. Great hanging with you. And it was a great week. It really was. More to say, more news. We'll be breaking it down here in the coming weeks for sure. But for now, we'll wrap up this episode. And huge thanks to our call screener, as always, Tyler Page. Was there anything left unsaid about Star Wars Celebration? I know we still have, of course, lots of time to talk about it.
We'll be talking about this thing for the next month for sure. I know
no
we will.
doubt.
Yeah. There was so much she had to prioritize. It's like, do I go to this or do I go to that?
Right.
And hopefully you prioritize the Mando experience, because that was the best thing there. So
that was the best.
We were telling, after Mac and I went through it, we were telling everybody, if you can't leave Anaheim without seeing this thing, because it was absolutely magical. Absolutely magical. So good. Well, Tyler, thanks for everything. All your help at the Bash was incredible, and your help here on these after shows is so appreciated and so needed.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, buddy. Well, that is going to wrap up things for us this week. We'll be back on Wednesday with the Obi-Wan Kenobi after show. Stay tuned on the exact time, but make sure you're following us on our social channels. Also, make sure that you are subscribed to the Rebel Force Radio YouTube channel, because that's the way that you'll know for sure. And then you get that 30-minute warning when we're about to go live. So please join us for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Part 4. I can't wait. I'm absolutely glued to this thing. Just an update. I got the family to watch parts 2 and 3. And my son, who was not real interested in Book of Boba Fett until Mando came on, was absolutely glued, asking lots of questions. And then when Vader came out, he had even more questions. And I think it has to do with the fact that, being such a young kid, I think he did respond to the prequel trilogy more strongly than I gave him credit for at that time. And seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan and Hayden as Anakin again, it's that generation Star Wars, man. He's a little young, but I think it's the one that imprinted on him.
It's real fun to watch then how their perception and their impression of those films will change as they get older. Because I've been watching that with my sons. They have vastly different things to say about Star Wars in their 20s than when they were, in the single digits. Yeah. Because Dylan's doing the Clone Wars rewatch. And he's like, there was so much more to this show. I only watched it for the action sequences and Ahsoka quips. And I didn't know there was so much good stuff in the show. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So that's the thing I love about Star Wars is it refreshes itself. And
sure does.
It recharges itself. And as a Star Wars fan, following that week in Anaheim, hanging with you guys, all my best Star Wars friends, notable personalities, and then, of course, the trip to Disney and Galaxy's Edge. That has really recharged me as a Star Wars fan. I feel a lot of the crap of fandom has really just fell off me, and it's not attached to me no more. Now I can just enjoy Star Wars like I always have my whole life. So, like I said, recharged optimism is what I have for Star Wars following that week.
Yeah, agreed. Couldn't agree more. It is great to sort of have something that you look forward to, and I'm. You know, I've loved Mandalorian. I can't compare this show. You know, people say, well, I liked it better than I'm liking it better than Boba Fett, or I like Boba Fett more, or I love Mandalorian more. I can't really compare this. There's a profundity about this show. This show is so important. The story they're telling is so important. Not that Mando's not, but if you're, for anyone that's been a fan for, 25, 30 years, you've waited so long to see a story told like this, and for it to be told so authentically with, I think, the whole roster of performances that we're getting, particularly anchored by Ewan McGregor. I think we're really, really lucky. So if you can find a way to enjoy it, strap in and enjoy it. If you want more Rebel Force Radio in your life, the best way to do that is to become a member of Patreon. You heard from a lot of Patreons on this broadcast. So just click over on the Rebel Force Radio website and tap on the Patreon logo, and it's all laid out there, how you can get involved and what the costs are. And, you can get in for $1 a month. You can't beat that. You get exclusive podcasts like the RFR Q&A, the Babu Freaks, Clone Wars Declassified, Remastered. So if you're doing one of those rewatches of Clone Wars, it's a great way to get our takes on those episodes. The Filoni Files, we interviewed Dave certainly more than any podcast has ever done. And we've got hours and hours of Dave Filoni talking, and those are available on the web, or on Patreon as well. There's also a ton on YouTube. Also, when we do these shows, you get pushed to the head of the queue. And it is a great community of Star Wars fans, so please
and hey, you never know. If you're a VIP, you might be sitting with Daniel Logan's family at our next live event. Or you might bump into me at the elevators at the hotel and be dragged to a private RFR podcast stream with Billy Mack sitting on the bed with the sticky socks. Billy doesn't have sticky socks either.
Why'd you have to go and say that?
Yeah, I know.
Also, we talk about YouTube. That's what you're watching us. If you're watching this, you're watching it right now on YouTube. But there's just a ton of content available here from going back the last 15 years of our coverage of Star Wars, classic interviews, parodies, and the latest live streams. New full show audio released every week when the flagship show gets posted. So please like and subscribe today. We love to talk to you in between shows, so if you can, drop us a line. show@rebelforceradio.com is the email address, and the voicemail line 708-3201-RFR, 708-320-1737. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and you can find us anywhere you can find podcasts. You'll find us here at Rebel Force Radio, and you'll find us next week for the Obi-Wan Kenobi after show. So once again, thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it, buddy. We'll see you in a few days for part 4.
See you in a few days.
And we'll see all of you in a short. For Rebel Force Radio, I'm Jason.
I'm Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
And remember,
the Force will be with you, always.